paint away day and night, six hearts, hope I'm okay. You're alright, goodbye then if you dare. Someone new is pulling everywhere. I'm afraid to let them. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in panic. Yeah, 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 yeah. After you, I'm afraid of feeling some too soon. Cling to what you're giving. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Yeah, 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 yeah. Paint away day and night, six hearts, hope I'm okay. You're alright, goodbye then if you dare. Someone new is pulling everywhere. I'm afraid to let them. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. Nothing is what I think. Yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause I will drown in pink. Oh, 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 oh. Can I make something good out of this? Can I make something good out of this? Chances are you will not be missed, 'cause you don't give a shit. Can I make something good out of this? You could be late, you could be true. You could be underneath my shoe. Sometimes you're the only one who's strong. Then I'll be devastated if I'm wrong. I am the one you love to hate, but you cannot devastate. It will be interesting, I'm sure, 'cause I want more. Can I make something good out of this? Can I pretend that something is missing? Chances
Yo, 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 yo.
'Cause you don't give a shit. Can I make something good out of this?
Let's go. Guten Morgen. Let's go with the German. Sprechen Sie Deutsch. Dude, let's go. Dude, the Trump, is Trump alive or is Trump dead? I think that Trump motherfucker's dead. Let's go! Oh, dude, everybody loves to play the game. Is Trump really dead? Are we happy? Weekend at Epstein's. Oh, shit, bro. You could be late, you could be true. You could be underneath my shoe. And I'll be dedicated if I'm wrong. But you cannot devastate. Oh, I want more. I want more. Dude, we should go 24 hours when he dies. Although I can't really because then I can't edit videos. I want more from you, yeah, more. I want more. I want more from you, yeah, more. I want more. I want more from you, yeah, more. We're gonna go through all the noise, baby. I want more. I want more. I want more. All right. Let's go. Dude. Yeah, no, we're gonna talk about all the shit. Cause I know so I started off the day posting there was an image that I grabbed from the Lincoln Project. Okay. And a lot of people grabbed this image. Okay, there were a lot of people who grabbed this image from the Lincoln Project, which was from a video in June 28th. I'll show you the image, okay? We're going to see this. Hold on one sec. Let me get my shit fucking going. That was an image from a thumbnail, tonight's thumbnail. But so here's how it started, okay? I believe it started with the Lincoln Project, who put this image out. Okay, the Lincoln Project posted this image, right? And said something about looking good, right? Now, this image is from a video on June 28th, because I don't think there was video from today, right? And so this image, and I don't know, they may have gotten it from somebody else, right? But this was an image that was obviously put out to be wow, Trump looks like shit. And then everyone started freaking out and saying, oh my God, that's from 2023, or that's from June 28th. So, but here's the thing though, guys, is my thing was this, okay? Was the first thing I checked was Getty Images, okay? And I checked Getty Trump August 30, right? Which is today, okay? And right, you know what I'm saying? I checked Getty Images from August 30th today, and I saw that there was a photograph from Getty Images, on Getty Images, of like Trump on August 30th. And not only that, but the press pool saw him. Okay. There was on Twitter how the press pool watched him leave. Okay. And so then somebody kept saying this was from 2019. But guys, we know this isn't 2019 because look at Kai. Look at Kai. You know what I'm saying? Like Kai here, she's like almost as tall as this thing. If this was 2019, Kai Trump would have been like 13, guys. You know what I'm saying? She would have been 12. Okay. She's definitely not 12 or 13 in this photo. So people, but there's a lot of people trying to get, I mean, it's like clickbait at this point. Because if somebody puts this on there and says, dude, this picture's from 2017, it's going to get shared. You know why? Because let's face it, we all want him to be dead. Okay? That's the root of this. The root of this is we want the guy to be dead. We do. We absolutely, I know, but you know how else I knew it was him though? You know how else I knew he was alive? Remember when we talked about his tweet yesterday on Truth Social? We talked about the tweet about the tweet on Truth Social. Like, so this right here, where is it? It was, I mean, you see how there's more tweets? There's a lot of tweets. It was this one. I'm like, dude, this one is definitely Donnie. Right? I read this and I was like, oh yeah, this is him. Yesterday's tweet about the tariffs did not sound like him, but this sounded like him, right? You know what I mean? Although there's still, doesn't it seem like they're using ChatGPT? Because this is a little weird too, right? But the substance of this is him, but like, I don't know, man. He doesn't use these punctuations, right? You know what I mean? You prefaced it, you put it in Discord, put it in Discord, whatever video you have, right? You said you have one, right? Throw it in Discord. But, I don't know. There were a lot of tweets today, but this felt like his voice about crying about the thing. Where are the caps locked? So the caps locked are sort of, they have to disappear a little bit because of Gavin Newsom, right? You know what I'm saying? They have to disappear a little because of Gavin Newsom. I think Gavin Newsom has removed his ability to do caps. But yeah, dude, the internet was kind of on fire today, okay, with him. Now, the press pool saw him, okay? If you look at it, if you look at the right, it says he won't let the press pool get close to him, though. See, that's what's interesting, guys. Okay, is here's how we know something is up. Okay, so this was, I believe, either at the club or after the club, right? Discord is down in the fucking thing. I don't see anything from the Taylor Lorenz stuff. She blocked me, but Discord is down in the description. But so here's the thing. You ready? We know that Trump is fucked up. Okay? We know he is fucked up. We know him. We've seen the hand, right? We've seen the hand. We have seen right? We saw the black hand. We've seen the swollen ankles. We know he's got edema. We know he likely has congestive heart failure. His skin looks like shit. he's swollen. His hands are swollen. His coloration is terrible. We know he's fucked up. Okay. Now, the thing is we know that he disappeared this week because he is sick. Okay. We know he disappeared because he is very, very fucking sick and not well. And he's not been well mentally. Now, I knew that today he would be golfing because if he doesn't go golfing, we know he's like at death's door. So he has to go golfing, but he didn't look well in these photos either. And they kept the press very far away from him. And so we know he's super sick. We know this is today. Like you see her with that outfit and you see her, it's the same outfit. So we know that these photos are the same day. There are a lot of people spreading misinformation. I saw people showing him golf swinging with her wearing a different outfit. Of course, there's a lot of people trying to prey on everybody and get like likes and views and go viral on Twitter because everybody wants him to be dead, right? So we know that there's going to be this, but if you look at him, he doesn't look good, okay? And he hasn't looked good for a while, right? He has not looked good for a while. He looks gnarly. But you know, he is still alive, unfortunately. Okay, he is. You know, there was the fucking tweet that I put. I don't know if you saw this one, but this one I thought was a really good tweet. It was a nice photo of him right here. It's heartbreaking. Donald Trump, age 79, was found alive this morning. Dude. You know, he's found alive. All right. We have at least another couple days with this shitter, right? But yeah, dude, people were going fucking crazy about this today. Okay? They were, dude. They were. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is the thing is this video was from June. Everybody was passing that the video was from June. Right. But the press pool did see him. And if the press pool hadn't seen him, we would have heard about that. This is an old, like, you know, there's a parody account here that's like trying to do, like, there's so much fake shit now. You know what I'm saying? So much of this is fake shit. But yeah, dude, he still doesn't look good though. Dude, he is like a thumb, bro. Right? 5 links, but none are Discord. Hold on. Let me look at that. No, it's in there. It's in the description. It says join Discord. It's right under the fucking Instagram. I'm looking at it right now, boss. If you go down below the description of this video and you click on there, it says join Discord, right? It's right under the Instagram one at the very bottom of those group of links, right? I'm telling you, baby. I got you, boss. We got you. But yeah, dude, he looks fucking gnarly, dude. He looks gnarled, okay? But we do have to point out, okay? We do have to point out with the fact that the press pool is keeping their distance, that he won't let the press pool get near him. And one thing you've noticed, guys, listen to me, pay very close attention to this. Because what is the staple of every Trump golf outing? What is the staple? You know what it is, guys. It's like handheld vertical video from people in the club saying hi to Trump, clapping for him. Look at how beloved Trump is. There was none of that today. There was no handheld vertical video of Trump schmoozing with people in the golf club. So that tells you guys that they hid him, that they kept people away from him, no cameras, Secret Service detail kept people at a distance, which tells you he's not in good shape, okay? Because they kept him like out of view, even while he was out golfing. He golfed because he literally had to. If he didn't go golfing, everyone's like, God damn, he's dead, right? But I think that they kept everybody away from him. So we know he's fucking sick. Like real sick, dude. He looks like shit. Yeah, Vance is a much more controllable, healthier, more competent puppet. Yeah, so the thing about this though, the thing about Vance and Trump is it doesn't really matter which one of those guys is in office, okay? Because Trump is not running the country, guys. Okay? The Heritage Foundation is running the country. So they would be running the country the same way whether it was Trump or Vance in office. Now, the thing is Vance does not have the crowd clout, okay? Vance does not have the crowd clout that Trump does. So Vance is not going to be able to get away with as much. He's going to have a much stricter level of accountability. Like Trump has a built-in get out of jail free card, right? And Vance doesn't have that. So if Trump were to die and Vance were to take over, what I believe would happen would be this, okay? If Trump dies and Vance takes over, there's going to be a power battle for who's really in charge, okay? Is it going to be Russell Vought? Is it going to be J.D. Vance? Is it going to be Peter Thiel? Is Elon Musk going to come back into the picture and try to barge his way in there? Like, there's going to be a power struggle, a massive one, because with Trump, everybody's like, no, sir, Mr. Trump. Okay, but if Vance is in there and Trump is dead, there's going to be power struggles for who the leader is, because then it's anybody's ball game in 2028. Okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine, I guarantee you guys, you ready? I guarantee you, there are plenty of Republicans who want to run against J.D. Vance, and they can't really if Trump's alive, because Trump will pick, and maybe he'll pick Vance, and then they're fucked. But if Trump is dead, there's no clout, guys. If Trump is dead, it's a free-for-all. Every goddamn Republican that's ever wanted to be president is going to pile in there and try to get it on with fucking JD. You have Marco Rubio. You have Vance. I bet Ron DeSantis tries to get back in there. You know, Vivek would come in. I mean, you know what I mean? I bet maybe Nikki Haley or even somebody like Nancy Mace tried something fucking crazy, right? I mean, it like somebody said, the power vacuum, okay? That's exactly it. When Trump dies, there's going to be a picture a chunk of meat thrown into a room with a bunch of wolves. That's literally going to be what's going to happen the minute Trump dies. Is every power broker in the right wing is going to start a feeding frenzy trying to be the guy on top. Because Vance is not like, nobody loves him. Everybody in the right wing knows J.D. Vance is just an ass kiss suck up, connected to the tech bros and crypto, but they know that he's fucking using Trump to get the presidency. I bet half of the fucking administration hates J.D. Vance. I bet half the Republicans out there hate J.D. Vance because he fast-tracked, okay? He went from Trump is Hitler to the vice president by doing a serious, tech bro power schmooze. I bet he is one of the more resented motherfuckers in the entire right wing, right? People just probably fucking hate his ass. Guys that have been in there working at this for 20 years trying to build a profile, and J.D. Vance comes in and worms his way in. Like, dude, they do not like J.D. You know? I'm telling you, these guys, there's so many fucking egos in the Republican Party. There's senators in there that they fucking hate J.D. Vance. That guy's a weasel. Dude, he's a weasel. So yeah, dude, I think Trump dying, That's fucking would cause a lot of chaos, right? He's good on interviews, he is, but he doesn't really have the political capital. You know, like the thing about this is Vance is a great liar, but the problem is nobody in Congress will go against Trump because Trump has the political capital. He's connected to the Russian oligarchs. I think everybody with an ego would go up against JD Vance. And I think they would try to roll him and try to destroy him, okay? Because they know that he doesn't have the capital. He doesn't. He's just got money and the tech sector, right? He's got the tech sector. But Trump is in bed with fucking Putin and Netanyahu, right? You know what I mean? So Trump is like, is pretty, like, kind of like a made man, you know? You know what I mean? Dude, Teal is wild, bro. He is creepy. That guy's creepy. But yeah, dude, Trump is fucking crazy. Yeah, no, I saw the article. We'll get there eventually. Or we won't, but I did see it. I saw the article. But yeah, man, so the internet, though, I think the internet today was pretty funny with the Trump shit. Like, I don't know if you guys saw a lot on the internet, but let's look at some shit that happened, right? Obviously, here we go. You know what I'm saying? This photo was circulating, but this obviously was not today, guys. You know what I mean? This photo was not today because that's not what Kai Trump was wearing. She was wearing a white skirt, right? This photo was old. Right, this photo was old. A lot of people were passing around old, you know what I mean? And, oh, this guy did say it's from January, but I saw other people using this photo, okay? But, dude, he looks like shit, bro. Dude, this is hilarious. You see that? It says sex offender on board. Dude, isn't it funny? Oh, dude, this shit is hilarious, bro. Oh, my God, dude. I fucking love some of these memes, dude. Shit is money. But yeah, dude, Trump doesn't look well. Okay? He does not. He does not look well at all. Right? Fucking yeah. I had some replies. Okay? I did reply because some people were talking about him. Right? Where is it? There was somebody I think it was Riley Gaines who was like, oh, everybody made a big deal about Trump, right? Yada, yada, yada. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah. Riley said the left's hysteria over Trump not making a public appearance for 3 days shows just how much he really does on a daily basis. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It shows how feeble he is and how much we want him dead. But I said how much we want him to move on to his next adventure in the furnace. Right? Oh, Lord. Oh, fuck, dude. Did you see this one? Did you see the guy who posted a picture? The Ohio representative who posted a picture with Vivek? Did you see this shit? And I'm like, dude, homie. I'm like, your kid looks like he's been kidnapped, bro. Dude, look at his kid, bro. Oh, shit. Dude, his kid is like, blink twice if you need to be rescued. Like, what the fuck is this, bro? I saw this picture, dude. Is his kid like, did his kid get loaded or what? Bro, dude, I know. I'm like, homie, why does your kid look like he got kidnapped, dude? Look at these two chodes. The kid's just like, oh, fuck, kill me now. This is the funniest picture, bro. Dude, isn't it? Isn't this the funniest picture? Somebody else posted like the 8 a.m. beers getting... Dude. Why is it, right? Why is it fucking that the Republicans are just so fucking dopey looking? Why do they all look so fucking dopey? Right? They do. They all look like so dopey. Like their girlfriends fucking pick their clothing and shit. You know, every one of them looks like they just don't know how to take care of themselves, man. Oh my God, dude. Humiliation ritual. Oh, that's fucking beautiful, dude. Dude, I was like, probably hurts him to the core to be surrounded by Trump cucks. Oh, shit. Dude, everybody in the right wing is just, they're such fucking putzes, bro. Oh my God. Dude, should we do a goal? Dude, yeah, let's do a goal. Let's get that goal going for, hold on, for the dance party. I got to get that up there. Sorry. Yeah, there's a piece. Somebody asked earlier about Taylor Loren. She blocked me because I was like pointing out some shit with her funding that she didn't like. Right? And that was a few points under Forrest Gump. Oh, shit. Yeah, dude, Vivek. Well, dude, Vivek is a fraudster, right? Vivek is a fucking, I mean, you know his history, right? That like, so Vivek, okay, there had a pharmaceutical company called Axovant, okay? Axovant. And it was supposed to be an Alzheimer's drug that was hyped as like, we found a cure, okay? Axovant. It was this big thing. They did this public IPO and the shit blew up. And then shortly afterwards, they fucking sold it all off. And then what found out is that the drug, they knew it didn't work. So they did a rug pull with Axovant, with a pump and dump scheme on a fucking an Alzheimer's drug, and he made like $1 billion or 2/3 of $1 billion. And then they changed the name of the company to Roivant, ROI, like return on investment, Roivant. And it became like a different pharmaceutical company. So he's a con, dude. He's like an Elon Musk, where he shystered his way to like a giant fucking pump and dump IPO. Now, Elon did it a little differently. Elon didn't shyster an IPO. What Elon did was he took an open source database and they modified it slightly to make it seem like this breakthrough technology. And then him and a bunch of other tech bros convinced Compaq to pay $330 million for this technology that was pretty much useless. So Compaq got soaked and they bought a technology that wasn't really that big of a deal. You'll notice how you don't see any Compaq computers anymore, right? They basically drove Compaq out of business, I think, with that deal. Okay. And so that was shisty too. Like both of them are shisties, you know, because that's sort of the new thing, the new sort of mechanism for the tech world is this, is there are guys who create a technology and ride it. Okay. Like Zuckerberg or Bezos, where they come up with this invention and they ride it. And then the rest of the tech bros come up with something, they pump it up to be the next big thing, and then they sell it to a company or a group of investors that have way too much money. And then they are usually selling something that's not even that good. So it's all like a shell game of like creating this thing that looks, oh yeah, it's under shell number 2. You just got to give me $300 million. And then the people buy it and they're like, holy shit, this thing sucks. So that is a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of fraud and scheming and bullshitting that goes on in the fucking, in the tech industry, because they're trying to create these things that look like game changers and convincing somebody to spend a whole bunch of money, you know, on it. And there's a lot of money, man. Dude, it sucks, bro. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't understand why you would emulate these guys. They're con artists, man. Dude, they're cons, bro. But yeah, if you want to like look at fucking Axovant, you read it and it's fucking, right? Here it is. 𝗙𝗪𝗏 was a neuroscience company founded by Vivek that failed to develop its lead Alzheimer's drug and later pivoted to developing gene therapies. Okay, the gene therapy division was named Siogenes and is now part of a larger company called Roivant. Okay, it was founded in 2014, right? 𝗙𝗪𝗏, but it's a con, dude. If you look at it, like if you look at the wiki, it's a fucking, right? There it is. There's Roivant. I'll put it in fucking chat, dude. Fucking bullshit is what it is, bro. Absolute con. Right? So here's what they did is founded Roivant in 2014. Okay. Then at the, where is it? Oh shit. So, dude, this is leaving out shit, right? It's like leaving it out. Oh my God, dude, what the fuck did they do, right? Dude, what did they do that? Oh, they've sort of have left the whole controversy out of here. Who the fuck is doing this page, bro? Holy shit, boss. Yeah, no, that's the thing, but let's fucking... But so here's what it is, okay? See, I can't believe that this shit is legal. Right? So, where is it? Okay, so in late 2014, there was an Alzheimer's drug, okay, that had failed some clinical trials, okay? And Roivant had a subsidiary called 𝗙𝗪𝗏 that bought this fucking, right? Bought the Alzheimer's drug. Okay, 6 months later, before they started the trials, they went public to this explosive valuation. Okay, that was like, we got this new drug. This is the thing. Okay, but it had failed clinical trials, but they went public with it. Okay, they went public with it and like, no, we got this. But they fucking knew, guys, that this drug was bullshit. Okay. And so he was the one who talked it up, right? You see how he's kind of like car salesman-y, okay? He talked it up. He was like out there selling this thing. And yes, this thing is going to change millions of lives. This is fucking going to be like the life-changing. Like we are on the cusp of, right? We are on the cusp of a brand new, brave new world, okay? And then what ended up happening was he sold off a chunk of it, okay? Dude, 37 million in fucking capital gains. Jesus Christ, dude. All right. But so they basically sold it off if you look at what happens. I highly recommend you look into this shit, right? And then after, okay, so here we go. You ready? So this was it. Okay, is he sells 𝗙𝗪𝗏, then the parent company gets this massive investment, okay, right? And then the Alzheimer drug failed, and then the stock price plummeted, dropped 75%. Look at that. The stock price went down 75% in one day. Like as soon as that shit failed, they fucking sold it all off, bro, right? They sold it all off, every last bit of it, dude. In one day, dude. One day, bro. And see, this is what's fucked though, guys, is this is the thing that bothers me about capitalism is like, this is not illegal. Okay. People do this. This is not illegal. They were doing this with crypto during the pandemic. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw, but during the pandemic, there were influencers, big people like FaZe Banks or XQC or whatever. What would happen is they would go in and some big wigs would go in and buy a whole bunch of some fucking shitty ass crypto, right? Fucking live peer, right? Or some, and then they would buy a whole bunch of some shit that was like 2 fucking cents. And it would drive it up to like $10. And then they would go, the influencers would go out and be like, we have this crazy crypto that's going to be the future of like the metaverse and video games. And then John Q. Public goes in and buys it and it goes up to like $35. And then the people who bought it for 2 cents all fucking sell it. And then it's like everybody who came in late, all the regular people who are coming in because their influencers told them to get on this train, they all get soaked, okay? And they just moved from one crypto, right? From Axie Infinity to Live Peer to, right? It was around the time of the metaverse. And no, see, it's not insider trading. Insider trading is like insider trading is when you have knowledge. Now, I mean, I think the Axovant here was like insider trading for the people in the company, but they covered that. They made it so nobody knew it. You know what I'm saying? But like insider trading is when you know that something is about to change with the company and you're buying or selling a whole bunch before the thing. That's more of a pump and dump. It's like they legally bought the shit and they elevated the price and then they tell you, dude, it's hot now, which is true. It is hot. And everybody else buys it and then they sell it off. So, but it's not illegal. That's the whole point is these markets, the stock market and the crypto market, they are set up to allow legalized fraud. Okay, legalized fraud based on, right? Legalized fraud based on if you have enough money, okay? Because it's only available to people, because the reality is if you put 50 grand in crypto, you're not gonna make a lot of money, right? Unless you are in the know, right? The only people that really make money are the people who are in the know, the people who know this crypto is gonna get like put out into the mainstream, and so they're buying it when it's like 1/100th of a cent, okay? But by the time the regular public finds out about this shit, you've already been fucking, you're being like reeled in by the big fish. But there's all kinds of legal scams that are allowed where the market, if you have enough money, you can manipulate the market, right? You manipulate the market. And all you need is some fame. You need enough fame or whatever, enough network to be able to generate purchases of your shit, right? And then you need enough money to be able to manipulate the fucking price of it, And Pelosi, see, the thing about Pelosi, though, is I'm telling you right now that even with Pelosi, she's not doing that, okay? They have stock guys, okay? You know what I'm saying? So the thing about Pelosi is all of those guys in Congress that are doing that trading, they're not the ones doing the trades, okay? They hire a company that manages their portfolio, and then what they do is they probably have a network of information deliverers. So Pelosi talks about what's going on with a friend who goes and talks to a broker, who goes and talks to a friend, who goes and has lunch with a broker. And then a day later, the people who are running Pelosi's portfolio now have all the information, okay? And so all of the Congress people, though, I think are like basically in on that. That's like their level of being in Congress, is they're all in that network where they're using the same brokerages or whatever, the same traders that have that information and are manipulating that shit. I mean, it sucks, bro. It does. It sucks. Yeah. But she's not making any trades. I mean, they're so insulated. Dude, yeah, no, I know. I mean, but again, they're doing legal shit. And that's why, guys, this is why the phrase law and order, okay? The phrase law and order, guys, is a bullshit phrase, okay? Because the law doesn't make shit right, okay? Just because shit is legal doesn't mean it's right, okay? And the law is malleable, okay? Like, for example, if you're a black kid in fucking Detroit and you're hungry and you go into a grocery store and you steal a fucking hot dog, you're gonna fucking get slapped with a crime, maybe a felony. They're gonna call you a criminal. They're gonna go after your voting rights. They're gonna prosecute you and punish you for being a criminal. But if you are part of a hedge fund that is legally, buying Red Lobsters, selling off the profit selling the properties to a shell corporation that you own, and then renting the property back to the business, saddling them with debt, you get the property and fucking pull all the money out of the company and walk away clean, bankrupting the business. You've just done a legal, good capitalist ploy. But you're way more crooked than the kid who fucking stole a hot dog, right? Because the reality is capitalism is set up to allow the wealthy to steal and get away with it. That's the whole system. The whole system is the wealthy get socialism, the wealthy get to steal, the wealthy get to cheat, and there's no punishment, okay? That's what it is. If you can afford to buy in, you get to cheat and steal and receive socialism, and it's all legal for you. And then everybody who's working for you, they have to follow the law or they lose all their fucking rights and get all their shit taken away. It is a thieving system, okay? The whole system is theft. I mean, think about it, guys. You just take away the bigwigs and just look at what capitalism is, okay? You go to a job and you create $10,000 worth of value and you get $15 an hour, okay? If you're a fast food worker, 2 or 3 fast food workers will go and work at McDonald's. They'll bring in $5,000. You take away a third for the materials, and they've spent like $3,500. They made $3,500. Each of those workers takes home $120. So they create $3,500. They all three take $120 each. They take $360. They get 10% of what they created. Now you can say, oh, the owner of the McDonald's, he took all the risk. No, he didn't. You know how that owner got that McDonald's? You know how you get a McDonald's franchise, guys? Once you get approved and they decide that they'll sell you one, because there's a whole system. You have to be in the family. You got to be approved to get one so they can get the race and or income level of the people. But once you get a McDonald's, you don't risk anything. The corporation gives you the money to start the franchise. It's like 3 years, and then you pay it off as you go. The people who start off franchises, they no investment. The fucking company pays for that shit, and then they pay it off. The whole thing is a science. The people who own those McDonald's, if you're like wealthy enough or in the capitalist enough, you fucking have no risk, man. You just have to be rich, and they have to be willing to fucking sell it to you. They try to keep it in families, like they try to not really let outsiders in. And you do have to go to like McDonald's University and all that shit. Like they have these little hoops you have to jump through. But a lot of places, right? You know what I'm saying? You have to, yeah, but even with the loan from the bank though, Dab, it's like the people that are going to get loans from the bank are people that are going to, right? Like the people that go and get a loan from a bank to buy a Taco Bell franchise, they're going to go and do it with the shell company. They're going to create an LLC that protects all their personal shit. They're going to get that bank loan. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like there's still very little risk for the actual entrepreneur once you start LLCing and you know what I'm saying? There's very little risk. Nowadays, there's just not a lot of risk. You know, getting a bank loan for a business, you're not going to lose any of your personal shit. You really aren't. And depending on how connected your family is, right? If you're from a connected family, right? You're going to fucking get that loan with very little risk. It's not true. It is true, man. It is true. Dude, it is true, right? You know what I'm saying? If you're connected, yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about, boss. I'm talking about for the people that are already in the capital S. I'm not talking about like Joe Schmo who goes out and gets a loan to buy a Taco Bell franchise and then he fucking loses his ass. But like nobody really does it that way. I mean, I know you said your parents own them, but I think like the way your parents did it was shit that used to happen like 30 years ago. Right? Like 30, 40 years ago, it was a different playing field. I feel like now it's like if you're not in the capitalist family, you aren't really getting in anymore. You know, it was different when I was a kid. When I was a kid, anybody could like try to get a loan and go start their business. But capitalism is like, it's pretty out of whack now. You know, if you're not in, it's like real hard to get in, you know, like, for example, the thing with the McDonald's now. So I have a friend who owns 3 McDonald's and they were really good. And when he came up to sell them, I was like, dude, I would like to buy one, right? I love McDonald's. I want to buy one. And he was like, dude, he's like, there's no way they would ever let me sell you a McDonald's. And I'm like, why not? Right? I'll go to McDonald's University. I'll do all that shit. And he's like, you don't get it. It's like they're going to sell it to a family member of somebody who's already in, or you would have to be like wealthy as shit already. You would have to be worth like $5 million. Like they won't let anybody who's poor buy a fucking McDonald's. Like, no way. They're like, McDonald's isn't here to help poor people get rich. The McDonald's is created for rich people to get richer, right? The whole thing, the whole corporation is designed to build the fucking wealth of the families that already own them, or bring other wealthy people into the fucking realm. It's really sad. I mean, it's gotten way out of control, partially because of deregulation and the fact that like they're monopolized. I mean, it was so different, you know, like when I was a kid in the 70s and in the 80s, like you could entrepreneur. You could go and get a single franchise, get a bank loan and go work your ass off and like make something of yourself, you know? And I feel like that even went into, you know, through the 90s. It's probably around the crash of 2008 when I feel like that shit changed. Because what happened, guys, is the big, there were 2 things. There was like the tech bubble and then the real estate crash in the early 2000s. And so what happened with those, when the real estate crash happened, is the people who were really wealthy, they just bought up a bunch of shit on the cheap is what happened, right? There's a huge real estate crash. You hit a recession. And then what ends up happening is all the fucking, the small businesses lose their shit. And then the wealthy come in and just buy everything up for pennies on the dollar, you know? And there is a huge, like every time there's a big recession or crisis like that, there's a huge shift of wealth, you know, that subprime mortgages and shit. Like, oh my God, a whole bunch of people lost their homes. Everyone got fucked. But then a whole bunch of people got like earth-shatteringly wealthy. And then they were able to buy all the bankrupt businesses for like pennies, dude. Dude, it sucks. And the pandemic, same shit, right? Every recession. That's why if you look at Trump, like realistically, it looks like he wants to start a recession. So if they crash the economy, they'd be able to buy so much real estate in like prime places for like nothing, bro. You know? You know what I mean? Neoliberalism. See, I don't really call things those kinds of names, right? And I mean, I don't really like the frame neoliberalism. I know people use it, but I feel like that then makes liberals sound bad, right? You know, which then hurts like the left wing. Dude, The Big Short was a great movie, dude. Adam McKay, it's a great fucking movie, dude. Really good. Although the guy, Adam McKay, he and I got into it on Twitter a couple times because he's like a super snarky activist, like far left activist. But he's like, dude, it's hard for me arguing with guys like fucking Adam McKay, who he's like the leftist of the left, Mr. Rebellious, like way far out on the left, but he's worth like $100 million. And it's like so easy to be an integrity machine of leftism when you are worth $100 million because you're actually profiting enormously off every like non-left, every right-wing bit of capitalism feeds your fucking pocketbook. So you get to sit there and be like, oh, I'm so left. I have such great integrity. And it's like, yeah, you're allowed to have all that integrity because every time the Democrats lose an election, you get richer, right? You fucking fucks. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't trust wealthy leftists. It's not that what they're saying is not wrong because what they're saying, the things they're talking about are true, but like leftists should be in government making shit happen, right? When they're really wealthy leftists that have like tens of millions of dollars, it's really hard because every time the Democrats lose, they profit. So you can't really trust somebody that profits when they lose. I mean, think about this, guys. Think about this. Just think for a minute. If the Super Bowl paid the loser like twice as much as the winner, how many teams do you think would go there and take the loss? Right? You know what I mean? If the winner of the Super Bowl got paid $1 million and the loser got paid $10 million, I think you would have a lot of people not playing their best game. They'd be like, oh shit, bro, I just pulled my muscle before the game. Dude, you know what I mean? Or they'd be out there not worried about losing, you know? I love the left-wing policy, but, you know, it's really wealthy left-wing people are tough because they are so theoretically like pristine, but they actually profit off Republicans winning, you know? And that's hard. That's hard. It's hard when you're like, you know what? I'm not going to flinch from my principles. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they are. Some of the really wealthy leftists are like, you know what? I will not budge on my principle. It is all or nothing. But if it's nothing, they reap profits, right? And that's bullshit. You can't say all or nothing when losing is more beneficial to you than winning. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So to me, any leftist who ain't like running for government is suspect, myself included, right? Dude, I'm suspect, although I'm not rich. Dude, I'm not rich. I'm able to pay my bills now. The last 2 months, I finally have had 2 months in a row that I made more than my bills. Dude, it's the first time since 2022, guys. Isn't that crazy? Since 2022, I started this channel under a different name. It was the Politics of Humanity. I started it in September of 2022. And then I quit gaming and I started moving into politics. And I had in February of 25 And in July and now August of 2025, those are the only 3 months since 2022 that I fucking didn't go into debt. Isn't that crazy? Dude, it's nuts, bro. It's been a hairy 2 years. Who's a rich person and trustworthy? See, I don't know. It's not about the person being untrustworthy. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the person. I don't mean it that way. I don't mean the person is untrustworthy. I mean that the situation of they're in is complicated. Because, like, the thing about it is like, my thing is I don't think leftism should have 100%. Like, you can't expect 100% integrity from everybody when you benefit if you lose, right? You know what I mean? Like, you have to have wiggle room where what's more important than your integrity is the safety and security of the entire populace, okay? So, for example, right, we could look at somebody like Jill Stein's a good example, okay? Jill Stein wrote in and she rode the leftism shit and was like, hey guys, Palestine, the Democrats are bad, the Democrats are evil, but she knew that the Democrats losing was going to be bad for a lot of people. But she also knew that riding that wave and using Palestine and manipulating the integrity of a bunch of leftists would fucking be good for her profile. It would raise a whole bunch of money. And she would likely be able to fucking, grift her way to all kinds of shit afterwards. So she did it. You know what I'm saying? She did it. She put, right? You know what I mean? And she knew that, like, she was going to be okay, right? So I don't even think it's the people necessarily trying to be deceitful, right? I just think it's hard. If your integrity has zero wiggle room, then you can't take care of everybody. You know what I mean? And guys, quit saying you're out. If you don't want to be here, just leave. Okay? It's not an airport. I don't care if you don't like my analysis. Fuck off. But you don't have to announce it. I mean, if you want out, I'll just fucking mute you, dude. There you go. You're hidden. Bye-bye. Now I don't have to listen to you cry anymore. If you don't like what I'm saying, like, fuck off. Okay? I'm not here to fucking woo you and coo you. If you don't like it, fuck off. All right, nobody asked you to be here. I only want you here if you want to be here. But dude, you gotta, I mean, it's hard. Again, this started from the discussion about Adam McKay, okay? Because Adam McKay is a leftist who all through the fucking election, he was like, you know what? We need to burn the Democratic Party down. Fuck the Democratic Party. The guy who made The Big Short, right? He was like, fuck the Dems. Fuck Biden, fuck Kamala Harris, fuck the Democrats' support of Israel, burn this shit to the ground, fuck this, we need to revolt. But the thing is as soon as that election was won by Kamala Harris, he goes back to his fucking $20 million house in Bel Air and he gets a fat fucking tax cut, right? And he he was like the king of leftist integrity. All through the election, he had left Twitter. He came back, okay? He came back to rail against the Democratic Party and guarantee that he got a fat tax cut, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it, dude. Let's go, Uncle F. Appreciate you, dude. Let's do a goal for dance party. I don't like that shit, I don't like that shit, bro. But who knows? Maybe I'll get rich and I'll do the same thing, boss. Right? You'll have to check and see what happens, right? If I start getting rich, check and see if I all of a sudden become like, there's zero flinching on my integrity. Fuck the Democrats, right? Let's see, because I like the Democratic Party. Okay, a lot of people hate me for that, but let's see. Maybe if I get rich, all of a sudden I'm like, dude, these Democrats are bumming me out, right? You trust people on their past actions, not money or riches? Yeah, see, I'm not talking about judging people on their money. I'm just saying that leftism in America, and this is in America, guys, okay? This is not worldwide, but in America, leftism is a weird kind of shell game, okay? Because leftism, they don't have a lot of political power. They don't have their own party. And they complain a lot about their own party because their own party's not left enough. But when the right-wing party wins in America, all those wealthy leftists make more money. So it's actually financially better for them if the Democratic Party loses. And you remember yesterday, guys, how I was saying, as a YouTuber, the algorithm tells me what works and what doesn't. If I have videos that get 50,000 views, I make more of those videos because my audience likes them and it's good for my channel. It helps me grow. I'm not going to make 2,000 view videos when I can be making videos that get 50,000 views. YouTube wants me to make 50,000 view videos, okay? Right? And it's the same with politics, guys. If you make more money when the left-wing party loses, you're going to help the left-wing party lose, right? And the thing about it is those right-wingers are like, they do that because, oh, I don't want the Dems to win because fuck the Dems and I want to make that more money. But left-wingers, if they have money, they make more when the Democrats lose. So, like, why would they fight for the Democrats to win? There's no reason for them to fight for the Democrats to win. You know what I'm saying? Right? There isn't. There's no reason to fight for the Democrats to win. Conflating liberals with leftists? No, I think they're one and the same. They both have a stake, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, liberals are different because they have more power. So they at least want to win because they want to hold on to their power. But like leftists don't have any power. You know what I'm saying? Leftists don't really have any power. So the only thing they have is that fucking money, that paycheck. You know what I'm saying? You know? I mean, that's kind of how I see it. I don't know. And I'm not saying all leftists are bad because I love leftist policy. But this is, though, guys, why I want to see leftists and liberals like partner up. Because if we're not partnering up, then you know that both of those groups, the liberals and the leftists, are trying to sink their own party because it's beneficial to them. Okay, that they're both doing it. Okay, it's not just the leftists and it's not just the centrists, but the centrists and the leftists can't win without partnering up. So if they're not partnering up, then maybe they've just realized, wow, it's more profitable when we don't win. And we have enough money to like avoid the negative circumstances, right? If you're white and you have money, Republican policies aren't going to hurt you. So the leftist pundits that are in the elite system and the liberal pundits that are in the elite system, and right, they all have a vested interest in continued losing because now they have a common enemy that allows them to raise money to fight those bastards, but they just keep hitting the fucking cash register, you know? And so that's why if we're not working together, at some point we got to think that like, okay, at some point we got to think that like maybe we're doing this shit on purpose. You know, we need to unite. Yes. I want us to unite, you know? And you know, I do want to say one more thing though, because I know that the dark money thing is going crazy. Okay. And so I want to point something out here. I want to go over this tweet that I wrote about the dark money, and it's going to be used for a video. Okay. Because here, let me just show you. Okay. This is something we should cover because I'm not going to watch a whole bunch of videos. I've been seeing shit on TikTok and everybody's sort of defending their fucking point of view, right? The people that are like pro the dark money are saying, you know, we need this money. We need to be supported. And the people that are anti the dark money are like, they're fucking taking dark money. They're the bad guys. But like, I think we're all kind of convoluted, but I do want to point out a couple of things. And I do have to point out something about Chorus. Okay. We are Chorus. Because you know I love Brian Tyler Cohen, and I don't think Brian Tyler Cohen is a crazy fucking sneak. You know what I'm saying? He's always been very above board with me, and I know he is above board, okay, with his business dealings. However, there was one thing on the We Are Chorus that I noticed that I had a problem with. See, the thing about this, though, is you say BTC is a dem shill, but like, dude, that's just what he believes in, okay? Like when you say shill, you're saying that everybody who supports the Democratic Party or the centrist part of the Democratic Party, the corporate part of the party, is like a shill, but a whole bunch of people like that party, bro. They like it. You know, there's a bunch of people that don't like the far leftist shit that like I like, or the far leftist shit, the way far left shit that Hassan likes. Okay, there's a whole bunch of people in the Democratic Party who liked Joe Biden. There are people there who like Joe Biden more than Zoran Mamdani, okay, in the Democratic Party. And that doesn't make them a shill because their comfort level for change and trying things different is different than yours. You know what I mean? They still believe in like civil rights and shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, but the thing about this though, Zek, is listen to me and let me explain something to you, right? The thing about it is Brian Tyler Cohen has access to those people, okay, Zek? If you go online and talk shit about your Congress people, you will never get any information from them. You will never get interviews from them. You will never become a part of like helping people in the Democratic Party get elected. Okay. Now, the thing about it is Brian Tyler Cohen is a mainstream media news source. He works with Democracy Docket. He fucking features politicians of all stripes, the progressive ones and the non-progressive ones, the conservative Democrats. He covers it all. But his job is to have those people on the air and to get their viewpoints out to as many people as possible. So he's not going to go there and talk shit about Hakeem Jeffries because then none of the Democrats would ever be able to appear on his fucking show. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not like BTC is a shill. He's doing his fucking job. It's the same with Midas Touch. They're doing their job. If they didn't want to be big mainstream media outlets, right, they wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about this, though, is they do it in a way that is better. They provide more pushback than like CNN does, okay? Because they're not corporate fucking funded. You know what I'm saying? And you say it's being a sellout, but I see it differently. I don't consider that being a sellout. It's just their fucking job. You know what I mean? Like some people are going to be like more like mainstream news outlets that fucking have access to the politicians. And then some people are going to have access to nobody and they're not going to have anyone on there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at me. Okay. I talk a lot of shit. I use a lot of language. You might never see anybody like from the inner workings of the fucking politics come on my show. Okay, because of the vibe that I put out and the sort of aggression and the fucking in-your-face character of me, I may not ever have access to a lot of that shit, okay? And so not everybody's going to do that. There are some people that want to be mainstream. It's like the same with music, okay? Bands that write really good songs that sell 1 million records, everyone calls them a sellout, but it's like, dude, why are you going to blame somebody who fucking writes a good song and makes $1 million if they want to be a successful pop songwriter? Like, that's not a sellout. It's hard to be a successful pop songwriter. It's hard to fucking be like as good as Brian Tyler Cohen is. He's a really good fucking YouTuber. And he a lot of times gives fair interviews where he can, and he will offer some people challenge, but he also is like there to help the Democratic Party win. He believes in the party. He believes in their objective. And so that's his goal. And like, I'm not going to harm people for like having their goal if they love the Democratic Party and they want to support it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just don't have a problem with that. Like, I feel like there's a whole bunch of people in the party like that. Like the Democratic Party is not Hassan Piker. Okay. He's a piece of it. But he's not fucking the whole thing by a long shot, dude. Dude, Hassan Piker and that kind of leftism is like 20% of the Democratic Party. maybe 25, okay? And they can't fucking win shit without all those other people that Brian Tyler Cohen's involved with. Now, the thing about it is, the thing about like 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗆𝗆, okay, and you saying you don't like him personally, you're like, okay, so find somebody to run against him. Like, get involved instead of yelling at Brian Tyler Cohen, who doesn't hate 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗆𝗆. You should get involved in finding an opponent for 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗆𝗆 and fucking get him out there. I mean, it's weird though with me, right? Because like I'm a mix of both. Like, I don't like 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗆𝗆, but I do respect the power that he has. And the fact of the matter is though I may disagree with the way he executes the power, I don't have the power to upend him, okay? And so if you don't have the power to upend him, then you have to work with him. You know what I mean? You need him to be an ally, okay? And like, if I got in Congress, okay, I wouldn't try to knock off somebody like 𝗙𝗵 until I could. But if I got into Congress, you can damn sure bet I would fucking get on the right side of 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗆𝗆, right? Or at least be able to work with him so I could get my shit fucking, like taken seriously. He's a really powerful guy to know. You know what I'm saying? The same with AOC. Like, I think AOC, she plays it really well too, right? A lot of leftists get mad at her because she goes in there and she's like not against everybody. You know what I'm saying? She's not against everybody. She's not, right? She's like herself and she has her own thing, but she also knows how to play nice with the people that have power, because that's how you get power, guys. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get power by making all the people with power avoid you. Okay? You don't. You get power by fucking getting in the room with the people that have power. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's more complicated. You're glad I'm not a purist. See, it's weird because I am like a purist at heart. And I am also, though, a realist in like how to execute your purist tendencies. Because the realism is politics is schmoozing and access. And if you don't have access, you have no power. And that's why I wish the purist leftists would sort of learn how to play the game a little bit, because otherwise they're never going to have the power and they're never going to get the shit they want, because you have to play the politics a little bit or you just will keep getting fucked, right? If you keep considering everybody a sellout. Now, again, though, I'm not going to let 𝗙𝗎𝗓𝗏 completely off the hook, though, guys, okay? Because this is what I posted about today. I'm going to show you two things, okay? First thing I'm going to show you is this tweet, and then I'm going to show you the other side, because I have a two-sided issue about the 𝗙𝗎𝗓𝗏 thing, okay? And about the dark money, the 1630. And I'm going to lay it out on the line for you right here, okay? And then we're going to move on to things that are more important than me. But everybody's doing damage control. Pacman's doing damage control. Brian's doing damage control. Fucking Taylor Lorenz is trying to whip up public frenzy on her side. And you see people on TikTok choosing sides. And I think a lot of this comes down to the Gaza leftism split, where everybody that sort of like feels like Gaza and the genocide is the number one issue in detangling from Israel, they're all like, fuck the dark money. And they're worried that the dark money is being funded by Israel and that this thing is like a way to trash on the Democrats that they believe are central to Israel. That is part of the anti-chorus thing, right? That like, if they're in there and they're taking this dark money, they're puppets of Israel secretly. That's literally the split that I see. And then people that are more like in line with the mainstream Democratic Party are like, this is left-wing money. Why are you so upset that it's left-wing money? We're not taking money from Russia. 1630 funds a lot of good initiatives. Why are you making 1630 look bad just because you don't know who funds it, okay? And now there is some thing of like, why can't we know who funds it? All right? I think that's a legitimate question. Okay, but now, ready? I'm going to read this tweet, and then I'm going to show you the thing that I looked at on the Chorus website today. Okay, so here. It says, 𝗙𝗪_𝗦𝗂 blocking everyone who posts the connection between the 1630 fund and the people quietly paying her $8K a month says something. Okay, and that bothered me. Okay, 𝗙𝗪_𝗦𝗂 followed me, and she has her comments blocked, so only her followers can get in there and fucking leave a comment. And so the thing is there is a disclosure there is a disclosure. Okay, let me find it here. Hold on, let me grab this. There's a disclosure from 2022, okay, from the 1630 fund. Okay, that is right here. This is the 1630 fund's public disclosure. Okay, hold on, I'm going to bring this down here. All right, let me just show you. This is the public disclosure of the organization for 1630 fund. Okay, now, if you go down here, and you look at this shit, there's a whole bunch of donos that we don't know who they are because they don't have to report the person. Okay, but now if you go down and get into this thing on page 82, okay, when you get to page 82, there is a section here. Okay, here, when you get into the 80s, what this is this is grants and other assistance to organizations. Now, originally, I thought that this was money paid to 1630, but it's not. This is money that 1630 paid to other organizations. And if you go down in here and you go to page 82, I'm going to just scroll down there to page 82, right? You will see Omidiyar Network Services, okay? So Omidiyar Network Services got paid $45,000 from 1630 fund, okay? And for civil rights and social action and advocacy. Now, Omidiyar Network Services are the people that are paying 𝗙𝗪_𝗦𝗂 $8,000 a month. So 1630 fucking paid money to the people that pay 𝗙𝗪_𝗦𝗂. So Omidiyar is in the 1630 family. They're getting money from that same fund, that dark money fund. Okay, now, also though, the guy who runs Omidiyar Network, Pierre Omidiyar, he was the founder of eBay. He's an Iranian businessman, very successful. He's in a lot of left-wing philanthropy. He donates millions to a thing called Hopewell Fund, which is a thing that funds 1630. So, what it is 1630 dark money that we don't know who all puts in there? Yes, absolutely. We don't know everybody that puts money into dark money, okay? Now, the other thing is, though, is the person that set up the fund to pay 𝗙𝗪_𝗦𝗂 also funds 1630 and gets money from 1630. So her organization is part of the network of left-wing funding that uses 1630 money and gives money to 1630. So she is a part of the 1630 umbrella. Even though she's not getting a paycheck directly from 1630, Omidiyar Network is a middleman, just like We Are Chorus is a middleman. Now, here, hold on one sec. We're going to address the rest of this shit, okay? Just hold on. I'm going to address everything here. And I'm going to take We Are Chorus to task, and I'm going to take 𝗙𝗪_𝗦𝗂 to task. Okay, now let me finish my tweet. Okay, we're going to look at them both. Now, I say it is also impossible to ignore how Gaza is layered in there, with an unspoken implication that people who aren't far left and completely Gaza focused are being paid by a secret lobby to be silent on the issue. Now, this was not expressly said, but there was definitely some implication from the 𝗙𝗪_𝗦𝗂 crowd that the 1630 was only supporting Israel positive creators, and they were paying people to not be critical of Israel. That was implied, if not directly said, okay? And that was also strongly implied that maybe Israel or AIPAC was funding the 1630. Okay. But again, they didn't come out and say it, which I don't like when people are dancing around a point like that, but they're not being open about it. Now, you ready? Let's continue. I said, I've noticed people who are Gaza focused being mad and people who are more domestically focused feeling like left-wing creators taking left-wing money is not a problem. Okay. And then some people are also, I saw some people that are on the flip side that were wondering if Taylor taking money from the Iranian businessman Pierre Omidyar was fueling her anti-Israel narrative, right? I've seen people ruminating about that. Like is Omidyar funding all the pro-Palestinian people the same way that they think like 1630 is funding the pro-Israel people, right? I mean, I don't know. People are ruminating on all sides. And I said, frankly, the situation is pretty murky. Now, I said, though, there is definitely an issue of transparency, okay? There is an issue of transparency, guys. The fact that 1630 doesn't show us whose money it is. Dude, let's go. Dude, Pinky Parker, let's go. All right, now let's talk about transparency here, guys, okay? Because first, I want to talk about transparency with Taylor Lorenz, okay? You ready, guys? So I was shocked to find out that Taylor Lorenz was getting $8,000 a month from Omidyar Network. I was shocked, guys. I was shocked to find out she was getting that money. You know why? Because I followed Taylor for a while and have seen many of her posts complaining about how hard it is to make living as a creator. And during none of that time did I acknowledge she was so well funded by a left-wing donor. I didn't even know journalists got paid like that. I thought she was a creator. So Taylor Lorenz did not go around telling people, hey, I'm funded by Omidyar Network. She talked once about getting into that network of writers. And at the very bottom of the article, it said they received some travel compensation and a stipend. But it didn't say they were making $100,000 a year. And every day she's posting about, I didn't make enough on TikTok. No one's watching the fucking videos. You know what I'm saying? And blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not saying that she's taking dark money, but I'm saying, though, she's out there being funded by a left-wing organization. And I didn't know that she was like an independent journalist who's receiving $100K a year from a network that is connected to the 1630 fund. And the guy who gives her that $100K a year is putting money into the 1630 fund and getting money out of the 1630 fund. So what's crazy is I didn't know she was making $100,000 a year while simultaneously saying, oh, I'm struggling as a creator. You know what I mean? Like I was just surprised. But she was not transparent about, right? I think in general, people don't go around announcing who's paying them. You know what I'm saying? People don't go announcing who's fucking paying them. All right, but you ready? Anyway, though, hold on one sec. So I said, but what do you want? If you want leftist creators to compete with the right, there needs to be funding. But who then decides what funding is allowed and not allowed? Is Taylor allowed to be funded by a funder of 1630, but nobody else can be funded by 1630? I mean, it feels like a lot like the far left shitting on the center left, and that isn't going to put us in the dub column. Let's figure this shit out. But now I want to hold Chorus, though, responsible, okay? And here's where I want to hold Chorus responsible, guys, because of this, okay? Now, obviously, in the interest of fairness to the Taylor Lorenz article, we do have to ask why this bit of the Chorus website doesn't list the 1630 fund. Okay, now this is on We Are Chorus, because look at this. If you go to We Are Chorus and it says who funds Chorus, it says Chorus is a nonprofit with grassroots support from hundreds of individuals. We're grateful to those who understand the importance of investing in the independent media ecosystem, yada, yada, yada. But like, why didn't they say 1630 here? Okay, why didn't they say it with a link to 1630, right? That to me is like as cheeky as Taylor going online every day saying, I can barely make a living, when she's actually already making 100 grand. So she's not struggling to make a living. She's making 100 grand and all her travel's paid for. Meanwhile, she's like leaving guilt trips. Go donate to me because I'm hardly making a living, right? So like everybody is sort of being a little bit dishonest about who's getting paid from what. But this though is problematic because Chorus didn't put 1630 on their website, which means that either A, they like wanted to hide 1630 because they knew it was dark money and they knew that everybody was going to have a shit fit because some of that money, we don't know where it's coming from. Okay. So, right. So they're worried about pushback from the left. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit. If they find out or if they deem it bad, then maybe it's going to hamper 1630. Right. Or 1630 asks them to say, hey, man, we'll fund you, but we don't want to be connected to this. We don't want it to look like we're influencing what people are saying. Okay. I mean, it is possible because 1630 does a whole bunch of shit for climate change and for civil rights. It's possible that 1630 was worried that like, well, if they know we're funding you, everyone's going to think that we're telling all those creators what to say. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. Now, we could say, like, why is dark money even allowed in politics? And can we do something about that? Because I feel like everybody in politics is taking dark money. Okay, in some way, shape, or form, right? Like Taylor says, oh, Omidyar Network is not involved in dark money. But dude, Pierre Omidyar, the fucking businessman who's running Omidyar Network, he is involved in Arabella, in Hopewell, in 1630. Like that guy's involved in every dark money group in the country. So there's no way that Omidyar is like not involved with dark money. I mean, they're getting all that funding from this dark money shit everywhere else. Even if 1630's not paying Taylor, it's not like Omidyar's sitting there in an office going, oh, well, the Hopewell and the 1630 and the Arabella money's over here, and this Omidyar Network money is coming from my cookie jar with the clean money, the non-dark. It's like it's all the same shit. You know what I'm saying? All of this money in politics is dark and corrupted and like through shell companies and the LLC of an LLC of an LLC. Okay. And that's fucking like, I don't know. I feel like that's a problem for all of us. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a problem for all of us. But because at the end of the day, though, if it's this, it's like if Taylor Lorenz, okay, you ready? If Taylor Lorenz can take $8,000 from Omidyar and she can express her viewpoints without being influenced, as she claims, right? Like, for example, you ready? Taylor Lorenz didn't write a story about how Pierre Omidyar, the guy who runs her network, is involved in funding a dark money group. Right? She didn't write that story, guys. Now, why didn't she write that story? Why didn't she write a story of like, you know what? I just became an Omidyar Network fellow. I got a fellowship and I'm being paid this handsome stipend. But I found out that the businessman who's running this network is involved with 1630 Fund. He's involved in a bunch of dark money. Why didn't she write that story, guys? And why, when I mentioned that story's available for her to write, why did she block me? Okay, because she's writing about dark money in a way that doesn't cut her money off. Okay, and so like we're all involved in money somewhere. All right, she's writing the story about like We Are Chorus, but like what makes We Are Chorus different than Omidyar Network? Right? You know what I mean? I don't see a lot of difference there, right? I don't. If I'm funding Arabella and Hopewell and 1630, and then I'm also funding a bunch of reporters that money is all involved in the same shit. I'm still involved in dark money, even if the reporters aren't technically involved in dark money. But if this is all left-wing money going to advance left-wing things, I don't know. To me, that shit is really confusing, because you could say, okay, Taylor, why didn't you write a story about 𝗙𝗪𝗏? Why did you write a story just about 𝗣𝗢𝗚𝗏? Okay, because 𝗣𝗢𝗚 is definitely involved in taking dark money. But 𝗙𝗪𝗏 is putting a lot of money into that dark money fund. You know what I mean? And so, right? 𝗙𝗪𝗏 isn't the only funder. I know, but he's still a part of it. Okay? You know what I mean? If 10 guys, right? If I'm in a secret fund with 9 other people that I don't know, and I'm putting my money in there to help those aims, I am like tying myself to those other 9 people, right? I'm willing to put in money to a thing that is a dark money foundation. So if I'm kicking into a dark money foundation to help them pass out some dark money, that is the same as taking dark money. I mean, literally, if there weren't a whole bunch of 𝗙𝗪𝗏s, there wouldn't be any fucking, dark money. But he doesn't even donate from 𝗙𝗪𝗏. He has a whole other foundation he donates to. He donates into Hopewell, and then Hopewell donates into 1630. So it's not even like he's donating. You see? You see how, like, there's a separation there? The same way that 1630 is not funding those creators. 1630 funded 𝗣𝗎𝗚𝗏, who funded the creators. Okay? So, I don't know. To me, I look at all of that, and I see that it's all kind of doing a little bit of the same thing. Now, here's where it gets complicated, though. You ready? I would like to address what Bradshaw said. Bradshaw said, some taking dark money puts a stain on independent media. But guys, independent media means not corporate, okay? That means that there's not a shareholders board making your business decisions, okay? If you work for CNN, if you work for the New York Times, if you work for Fox, you don't make business decisions. A group of shareholders make your business decisions. That is corporate media. Independent media means those decisions are being made by people that are not a corporate board. Okay? Now the crazy thing, guys, you ready? There's actually more disclosure in fucking corporate media than there is in independent media. And that's absolutely true. All of independent media is being funded by shit that is outside the disclosure range. That's really the crazy thing about independent media. Like, corporate media is run by the boards, but then we have access to all their financials. So independent media, I guess, is rife with complications because there isn't that transparency. And so I don't know, man. It's like, we should figure this out, okay? But see, there's the thing, though, Zik, is when you say it's not independent media when commentators' content are being influenced. But this is the thing, the root I want to get to, is you don't know that commentators' content is being influenced. Because the problem is everybody on both sides of the left and center issue think the other side are paid shills, okay? Right? That's what they do. Or they think they're fucking clout shills, okay? The leftist people are keeping their viewpoints because of audience capture and trying to build a renegade financial system that gets them paid and destroys the democratic power system. And the leftists think the democratic people only have the viewpoint because they're getting paid. But like, some people may, on both sides, some people may be being leftists just because it's making them a bunch of money. And they might actually be a little more conservative behind closed doors. I'm telling you guys, I guarantee it, in entertainment, there are some people, I'm sure, that are very far left out in the open and in the public square, but they are actually don't believe some of that shit. It's just fucking making their YouTube channel fucking keep the money rolling in. I'm sure of it, okay? I'm sure of it. Not everybody has perfect fucking shit. I think TYT is a weird exception because they're just crashing their shit. Right? You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy. You know, but so this idea though, guys, here's the thing though, is I'm going to go on this. I'm going to go on record and say this and say, one, everybody who's getting paid is accountable to something. Okay? If you're not getting $8,000 a month from 1630, but you're making $8,000 a month from your YouTube channel, you are still accountable to your YouTube audience. And you might be susceptible to making a bunch of widgets for your YouTube audience and stoking their outrage, even if it's not good for the political climate, even if it's not good for the party. Okay, there's a possibility that some of our far left creators stoke outrage that actually harms our political environment, but they're doing it because it's making them a ton of money. And that's why they won't make nice with middle of the road people and coalesce with the Democratic Party. I guarantee you that is happening. There are some people on the left that don't even want to they just want to stoke outrage because it makes them cash. And there are certainly centrists who want to protect the Democratic Party because it just makes them cash. I think the pollution is on both sides. And I'm not going to say like who, because you're never going to know who that is. I just know that human beings, nobody is pure of fucking motivation. Everybody's trying to make money. Everybody's trying to get fame. Every content creator is motivated by making a living and becoming a bigger entity. Every goddamn one. I don't care if you're left, center, or MAGA. Everybody is out there trying to make a living and trying to carve out their piece of pie and trying to be as big as Joe Rogan or whatever, to be the biggest. Everybody is. Okay, some people, it's just harder because their viewpoint is not popular, or they don't have as good of connections, or they weren't born into a rich family, or they're not being funded by 1630 or whatever. You know what I mean? But every goddamn content creator is trying to fucking make the system work for them so they can make money and get bigger. Okay? And then once they get big, they're trying to stay big. Okay? And so it's like some people are maybe taking corporate money, right? Like you look at 𝗏𝗏touch, okay? 𝗏𝗏touch, and Adam Mockler, every video they're promoting some product. Okay? They're taking corporate money. Now, I don't do that. Okay? Kyle Kowinski doesn't do that. If I get offered some of that, will I do it? I don't know. Maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. I don't have anything against it. I don't feel like I can't take corporate money. You know what I mean? And you're right, Kyle doesn't. But the thing about it, though, you ready, Johnny Socket? Let me cue you in, though. The thing about this, though, I got to tell you, and I'm not putting down Kyle because I fucking love Kyle Kowinski, but Kyle has the luxury of not taking that because Kyle came up when it was easier to succeed in political thing. Okay? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot harder to make a living now. If you're starting out now, you can't really blow up the same way that Kyle did 10 years ago because it's a lot harder to blow up now. It's a very saturated market. You got to build it very slowly. It's a lot more expensive to live. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot harder to make it on YouTube now. Like I remember seeing something about the Vanguard where they were like, God damn, if we had done this 10 years ago, we'd be massive. And it's like, yeah, they would. But now they're doing it and they're like at 100K and growing, but pretty fucking, they're growing at a reasonable clip. It was a lot easier. Like people who blew up 10 years ago, like they have a little bit of a luxury. You know what I'm saying? They have a little bit of a luxury that newcomers don't. Like a newcomer coming in and taking corporate sponsorship may be the difference between them having to work a job or just being able to make content. So, I mean, it gets fucking, and none of it is cut in stone. I'm just saying though, here's my thing, guys. Okay. Is like, if we want to have the fight about dark money, we can have the fight about dark money. But we do need to be consistent. And we do need to be consistent that, yeah, we are chorus being a middleman for dark money is weird. And yeah, though, having journalists like Taylor Lorenz, independent journalists that are getting paid the same amount of money from a middleman who's in bed with all of those dark money groups, that's weird too. Like, it's just weird that all of this dark money is flowing around. And then we're arguing about who's being darker or who's really right. Oh, he's not taking dark money. He's just funding dark money. Oh, they're taking dark money, but I'm funding dark money. And it's like, dude, that's dumb. Because at the end of the day, guys, we need each other. Okay, Brian Tyler Cohen and Taylor Lorenz and Matt Binder and Mike Figueredo and Kyle Kowinski and fucking Franny and you know, Tommy Viator and fucking Hakeem Jeffries and AOC. God damn it, we all need each other. Okay? Because the problem is if we don't all get together, those Republican motherfuckers are gonna shove a Bible right up our fucking asses. Okay, and Gaza's gonna be gone, and the West Bank's gonna be gone, and fucking there's gonna be Bibles in our fucking ass, and the gay people are gonna be in fucking work camps if we don't get our shit together, you know? So that's the thing that pisses me off about this, is like, you know, I get it. If we want to avoid dark money, then we gotta fucking set some ground rules. Then maybe Pierre needs to stop funding fucking, right? I mean, like, why is it okay for Pierre Omidyar to fund 1630, but then everybody who takes money from 1630 is bad? Okay, and again, you know, you could say that Chorus said, hey, we don't want you talking about our program, but I don't know that Chorus was influencing people's content. Now, Chorus was saying, we're going to bring politicians on your show, and if you want to do somebody else, you got to get our writing, you got to get something in writing from us. Now, that's pretty standard, okay? That's pretty standard. If I'm getting paid by fucking, you know, HelloFresh has a bunch of rules about, like, what I can and can't do when I'm getting paid by HelloFresh. When I would do HelloFresh, I wouldn't swear, okay? I couldn't wear a t-shirt that says God is gay or fucking defund the police when I was getting paid by HelloFresh. Okay, that didn't make me a fucking sellout. That just meant, like, HelloFresh fucking had some ground rules. They didn't mind that I was doing that shit on my own time. But when I was getting paid, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And disclosure is essential. This wouldn't be a problem if origin of the funding was disclosed. But Zick, what I'm trying to tell you is that nobody discloses their funding, guys. Okay, like I said, nobody knew Taylor Lorenz was making $8K a month. And I didn't know that Taylor Lorenz was making $8K a month from the guy who was funding 1630. Because nobody discloses this shit. Okay? That's a reality. Now, you could say that, oh, we should have better disclosure. But, like, okay, let's work on that. But to act like anybody's out there disclosing where they're getting all their money from, that is bullshit. Okay? There are people on the left and people that are involved with this shit are getting money from wherever they can get money to survive, and they're not always disclosing it. Okay? They're not. Some people have, you know what I mean? Like, there might even be people on the left that have right-wing parody accounts that are making money arguing on the other side. We don't know. You know what I mean? And like, you know what I'm saying? You know, and fucking that is really difficult. Now, the other thing, though, I do want to address is I think it's fair to talk about, like, money disclosure, but I don't think it's fair to act like anybody's innocent in that. Because the reality is, guys, and you know this too, all right, when you go to a business, if you have a job at fucking Intel, you don't tell people how much you make. You will get fucking fired, bro. If you go into Intel or whatever because they hire people at different pay grades, if you go into Intel and start telling people how much you're getting paid, they'll fucking fire you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, I shit you not. Like, it's like the American culture is to hide the money because this shit is not really fair, okay? And that's shit that I fucking don't like. So I agree with you there that we do have to stop. Like, we have to figure something out about like the way money is treated darkly and secretly to begin with. Now, though, I want to address something else, though. Not everybody who supports the Democratic Party is a paid shill, guys. Some people just like the Democratic Party, okay? Somebody like Olivia Giuliani, maybe she is getting paid. Maybe her and Harry Sisson, I'm sure they're getting paid somewhere, consulting fees or something, right? But it's also possible that they want to run for office 15 years from now. And so they're going to be nice to the party because they want to run as a Democrat. And they're trying to work their way up in the party status. Okay. And like, that doesn't mean they're doing it just because they get paid. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like the party. There are people on Twitter call me a paid shill all the time. Sometimes they tell me I'm a baby killer. And I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, what are you talking about? I'm fucking extraordinarily left. I just don't hate the Democratic Party. So the leftists are like, you're an op. You're a fraud, right? You know what I mean? And so people get sort of like consultant fees and shit like that. And then, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And fucking, then are they going to be not critical when they're getting paid? Sure. Right. But I'll be honest, you look at David Pakman with his $8K a month. Was he critical of the Democratic Party before he took that $8K? No, he wasn't critical of the party, which is why he got the $8K, guys. Right. I got rejected. Right? They didn't give me $8K because I questioned some shit, right? Even though I also support the party, but you know what I'm saying? Right? I mean, there's a reason Cenk Uygur didn't get the MSNBC show, right? Because he was really critical of fucking Obama and he was really critical of the power structure. So they're like, all right, you're not getting the show. And then he's like, oh, fuck. But like, dude, live by the sword, die by the sword. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, we have issues, guys. I think we have issues with money and politics. Okay. We have a lot of issues with money and politics. We do, like all of it, man. All of it. There's a reason the Dems approval rating is worse than Trump. I mean, there is, because everybody's crestfallen that we lost, right? Everybody's crestfallen. And because there's a huge schism in the Democratic Party right now that is partially because of people having feelings about the genocide and feeling powerless and attacking the Democrats because it's all they can do because they can't move the Republicans at all. So they're desperately trying to move their own party. And there's outside forces that are manipulating that are, believe it or not, there are right wing and other forces that are most certainly using dark money to keep us attacking each other. Because as long as the centrists and the Democratic Party and the leftists fight, the Republicans are going to keep winning and amassing power. And until we stop fighting and fucking get together and forget about this goddamn approval rating and agree to work together, we are going to lose all our goddamn civil rights. And we're going to get fucking ravaged by Bibles unless we fucking stop killing our own shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, dude, we have a corporate party that, like, we're a part of. And so you can either leave and go build your own party and go it alone, 1v1v Republicans, and see what happens, or we can work together. But if you think you're going to make the Democratic Party become Hassan Piker, that's not going to happen. And the thing about it is, though, is the Democratic Party's not going to do what the Republicans did, right? Like Trump took over the Republican Party, okay? The Democrats would never let a wild man come in and take over their party. They're too smart and strategic for that. The Republicans are fucking dumb shits. So Trump was able to come in and fucking own them all. And he may very well have some fucking, he may have some payola or some shit on him, But so we got to figure something out, right? But I am disappointed, though, that I'm disappointed that Taylor Lorenz blocked me. And like, she accused me of like using ChatGPT, and then she like immediately like dismissed the things I was talking to her about. And that was fucking, you know, and that was something that fucking bummed me out because I didn't think she needed to do that. But Tony Tustix, let me just tell you, when you say, or we DSA can take over the Dems. But guys, I've said this before. You're not going to take over the Dems unless you win elections, guys. If the DSA really wanted to take over the Dems, you know what they need? They need 200 DSA in Congress. And anything short of that, you ain't fucking taking over the party. You ain't shit if you ain't in Congress. If you're not winning, like if the DSA gets 200 people in Congress, they will take over the Democratic Party. Any movement that gets 200 reps in Congress will take over the Democratic Party. But if you ain't winning elections, you ain't taking over shit, bro. You're not taking over shit, dude. It's like you got to win the elections. That's it, right? The Democrats are still winning. You know what I mean? Like, for example, you ready? I'll show you a classic example. Look at this idiot, bro. Look at Haley Stevens. Dude, the Michigan Senate I'm going to give you an example, dude. Do you see this idiot? You see Haley Stevens? Look at this chick. Look at her, dude. She's running for Senate in Michigan. She's a Zionist. She is probably going to be AIPAC funded, okay? And she's an Alyssa Slotkin, number 2. And who is she running against? Mallory McMorrow, okay? You know Mallory McMorrow? Here's the deal. Ready? Mallory McMorrow, okay, is right here. Dude, she's running for Senate. She's a progressive. She's feisty. She's great. She's fucking fantastic. She should win this race, okay? But look at this clown. Look at this woman.
Well, I don't just bring my pocketbook size of the Constitution, Jen. I bring the full-size Constitution of the floor of the House, and I point to it, and I remind my colleagues about the oath that we took.
Dude, what is that voice? And she's dressed like a goddamn Mennonite, bro. What the fuck?
In the Article 1, and I'm going to tell you these illegal impoundments of funds, this circumventing of a co-equal branch of government that enshrined, as our founders have said, and as people look to uphold this Constitution as we form
what the fuck is she, bro?
Jen, we can't be seeing this stuff. You know, I'm a member of Congress. I'm a member of Congress, and I'm using both.
But dude, this is what I'm talking about. If she wins, okay, we have been letting women like her win too fucking often. Okay, you know why? Because we're not getting the funding, bro. You know what I'm saying? And because we don't have enough people. Like, we need everybody, dude, to get involved. She's leading Mallory right now, okay? But this is the shit, though, that's important because Mallory is 1,000 times better than her, okay? You ready? Like, let's fucking watch Mallory speak. Let's find her, dude. She's amazing.
I will never forget, after the Oxford shooting, a reporter asked Mike 𝗫, who was the Senate Majority Leader at the time, what the Senate was going to do about gun violence. And he said, we're not going to do anything. Because if we do something, we're going to turn into a country we don't recognize. I was livid. I gave a speech from the Senate floor basically saying, we can't even recognize gun violence in this chamber. Wouldn't dare, right? So I'm not going to stand up here today and ask you to do something because you've already made that choice. But if you're not going to do anything, then get out of the way so that some of us can at the very least try. I think that change is going to be possible, but it's going to require...
Dude, she's amazing. She's powerful, okay? She's powerful, right? But here's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Here's the problem is fucking... the problem is the voters, okay? The voters will fucking vote for, right? The voters will probably vote for the Mennonite looking one, right?
Accordingly. And yes, I'm going to call this out to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, and I'm going to hold that vote as precious. I agree with our leader right now, Hakeem Jeffries, in his direction. Another piece of news just broke, which is they're not going to be playing ball in this space. And
dude, what is this girl, dude? What the fuck, bro? Look at her. I can't get past this, bro. You know what I'm saying? I can't get over this shit, right? You know what I'm saying? And this is the guy that you said was on Hassan's show, right, today? Abdul for Senate, right? 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗪, studied to be a doctor. Broken politics is making us sick. Shouldn't be this hard. Yeah. I mean, so what is this guy done previously? Right? Is this guy already like a state officer or some shit? Like what has he been doing now? Or is he a newbie? Says public servant running for US Senate. What was his job before he runs for Senate? Right? Dude, run for president so we can all vote for you? Dude, I mean, you never know, baby. You never know if one day I'll do something crazy like that. He looks like he's drawing pretty fucking, decent crowds. I mean, he's packing the small room, which is a start. But what do we know about this guy? I guess we'll look at his website, find out who he is. Let's see a little bit about him, shall we? There we go. He studied to be a doctor, realized there was a broken politics making people sick, dedicated his entire career to building government agencies that actually work for Michiganders. Okay, he's running for the U.S. Senate, fighting to build a government. His life shouldn't be hard. He rebuilt a government agency to make it actually work. He rebuilt Detroit's health department after bankruptcy, restructured the Wayne County's Department of Health. So he was was he like a county commissioner, right? Is that what he did? Humans and Veteran Services, serving 1.8 million Michiganders, and secured free glasses for kids. Nice. Removed lead from Detroit's elementary schools, took on the polluters, right? Narcan available. Cancel up to $700 million in medical debt for 300,000 Michiganders over 2 years. Nice. Nice. So he's a Medicare for all, right? All right. That's good. That's good. Where does he stand on fucking civil rights, though? Right? You know what I'm saying? Dude, I mean, I like that. I like the Medicare for all, but I feel like you have to be like pro LGBTQ, like out of the gate. Like we have to like protect the LGBTQ and the trans people and women's right to their bodies. That's a foundational piece, right? Because otherwise you get at medical care. If we haven't established the civil rights shit, you know what I mean? Then I don't know. Healthcare is fucking race and gender, right? Everything is race and gender. All right, let's see what his fucking priorities are. Civil rights and liberties. All right. Protect the rights of all. They pray, orientation, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. Yep, yada, yada, yada. Their health care, their reproductive care. All right. Civil rights are most important when they protect our rights to do things others disagree with. All right. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, no, it's good, but it's interesting, though, that I'm intrigued here, right? I'm intrigued by how, like, I don't know. I'm intrigued that he talks about civil rights and he mentions sexual orientation and gender identity, but his words are very like outside of the words we normally use. Now, you think he's doing that to like try to be accessible, as though like the phrase LGBTQ is like problematic? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm intrigued that he's like talking about this stuff, but he's not really like the part on civil rights talks about nobody is above our Constitution. So he's like, it's Trumpian, but he's like, you know, he did throw Roe v. Wade in there. Right? He's big. Yeah, he's big on Medicare for all. I get that. But you know what I want to see, though, guys? Here's what I want to see, okay? And here's what I want to see, okay? Check this out. And this guy certainly doesn't look bad, right? I have to look into him some more, though, because I love Mallory McMorrow, and I've been following her for years, and she's a really outspoken advocate. And I'll be honest, personally, I want more women leaders just in general. I feel like America would be better if we could get to like 75% of our leaders being women. I think it would be improvement. We need a generation of female leaders. That's just me. I know that's fucking my own thing. But I'll look into them. But here's what I want to see, though. Okay, I want you guys to think about something with me. Okay, guys? And let me just tell you this. You know what I'm saying? And stop attempting to identify with him and vet his record. But it doesn't work like that, Casmo. You have to identify with your politician. Nobody votes on a politician based on just vetting their record. Okay, he did something great in Detroit. That doesn't necessarily translate to the Senate. I mean, the Senate is very different. In the Senate, you're a fucking one cog in like with a whole bunch of other senators that all have different priorities. It's like very, very different. And so we don't know what's going to translate. I mean, Mallory McMorrow's been working in the fucking state house in Michigan where she's been working with other people and challenging and fighting. And this guy is now more on the civic level where he's done great work, but he also has had more power. Okay. The people that are down there have more power. But anyway, so my point is this, though. You ready? Here's my thing. And I want you to because I like the Medicare for all. However, I want to add a caveat, guys, to the Medicare for all. Okay? Dude, I want to add a caveat for the Medicare for all. Dude, is he still talking in all caps the whole time? Dude, you got to lose the caps, bro. Right? You're all caps. You got to slow the caps down or I'm going to mute your ass. That's it. That's the choice. You either give up the caps or you give up the chat. Dude, there you go. All right, let's go. Later. Oh, shit. Dude, he just won his election is what he said. Dude, he's a troll, isn't he? Dude, is he a troll? All right, but hold on, guys, okay? Listen to me. Let me just tell you something. You're welcome, guys. All right, let me tell you something. I want to talk about Medicare for all for 1 minute, and we'll go look at his endorsements. But you ready? Listen to me, guys. We got to talk about Medicare for all. You know why? Because here's the deal, guys. Okay? I want Medicare for all, as I'm sure you do. But you know what I have not seen, guys? Here's what I have not seen, and I haven't seen it from anyone. I have not seen it from Bernie either. Okay? We need to have one of these candidates come up with a plan for how that transition would occur. And that's what I have not seen. Medicare for all's become a political buzzword that like, yeah, I'm going to fight for it, but people are now using it to get into office. But I have not seen a realistic roadmap of how we could get Medicare for all. What would we do with the health insurance companies? How would we do the billing? Would the government absorb the health insurance companies and nationalize them? Would they all combine into one thing monitored by a government? Right? Like other countries did it, but they did it 40 years ago before there was a network of all this bullshit insurance company. Because right now we have these health insurance companies that are like billions of dollars of wealth pouring in to the shareholders and all this shit. And so we need somebody with a goddamn roadmap of how they could do it, because otherwise, guys, here's what's going to happen. If we don't get a roadmap, they're just going to use Medicare for all to get into office, and then they're going to complain about the people preventing Medicare for all. And it's going to be the same goddamn shit. But we need to be able to do it without crashing our fucking economy. Okay, because if you just close the health insurance companies, that would crash our fucking economy, bro. The health insurance companies are a massive financial point in our economy. So we do need some kind of roadmap of how to get from our insurance company to fucking, right? Because you have shareholders, you have CEOs, you know what I mean? Like I need to see a roadmap. I haven't seen a roadmap, man. And that bothers me because I feel like people like somebody just give me a roadmap so I know what it's going to look like. So then we can actually get on it. You know what I'm saying? Look on his endorsements, right? His endorsements are Bernie, Roe, Keith Ellison. All right. Yeah. I mean that's what you want me to see? That he's got the Bernie and Roe Kana, right? You know, I mean, that's why all right, he's got the Bernie endorsement. But you know I'm lukewarm on Bernie, guys. You know, everybody knows all the Bernie people hate me. I am lukewarm on Bernie. I mean, I like the man, but I don't love him. I don't think he's like, I think AOC is more of a solution than Bernie Sanders, personally, okay? Because AOC knows how to build a coalition and fucking work with people. Bernie Sanders doesn't. He knows how to make everybody mad at him and then walk around saying the Democrats are killing democracy, the Republicans are killing democracy. Oh, yeah, I alone can fix it, right? But, so all right, he's got the Bernie endorsement. Dude, let's see who Mallory McMorrow's endorsements are. Shall we see hers? All right, you ready? Let's find Mallory McMorrow. Oh, here we go, dude. Dude, I'm sorry to all the Bernie people. I know if he's your idol. Dude, I like Bernie, but I am lukewarm on him because I do like him, but he's so bad at working with other people. He's like the guy with the best theoretical policies and the best ideas, but he doesn't have the coalition building skills to ever achieve those fucking ideas. He can just tell you how great it could be if there was somebody better than him at corralling people and making a coalition. He's great at inspiring young people that like the world can get better. But when it comes to him like getting a coalition of people to achieve shit, he seems to make everybody mad. Right? He's always, and dude, him going on Andrew Schultz and saying that the Democratic Party is the enemy of democracy, that rubbed me the wrong way, bro. That was a shitty thing to do right after Kamala lost. That was a shitty fucking thing to do, bro. Why is he doing that? What's his point, dude? A threat to democracy? Bro, come on, man. There's a lot of really good people in the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is a real problem for me, man, because it seems like he wants it to be the Bernie show. He's like too much of a fucking demagogue. He's like everybody's bad except Bernie. Okay. And I don't like people who are like that. You know what I'm saying? That are like, I'm the only honest integrity person out there. That's Cenk Uygur shit. You know what I mean? But all right, let's go look at Mallory's fucking thing. Okay? Let's look at hers. All right. So here's Mallory's. All right. We meet Mallory. All right. So Mallory was raised small town values. She lives by today. Her front door is never locked. Kids from the neighborhood are welcome to grab a snack, stay for dinner. So she's a family person, small town values. So a little bit, I don't know, a conservative, like independent Midwestern Americana. Okay, the definition of hard work and selfless service. Mallory's mom brought the community together for a town-wide yard sale. So she is like family person, okay? Mallory got her first job serving coffee at Bingo. By 16, she was a manager at a local family-run grocery store. She worked as a bartender, various jobs on campus as she earned her degree from University of Notre Dame. Now she's portraying a working class. She was a bartender. She didn't go to like an Ivy League school on a full scholarship or whatever. She's not from wealth, right? She worked in a bingo parlor. Think Cenk Uygur cares about the poor? No, I do not. I do not. Dude, but dude, I like Bernie. Don't get me wrong. I just think Bernie's got some real problems at building an army inside the political structure. He's great at building an army outside the political structure. But in order to get your shit done, you got to be able to build an army or manipulate inside the political structure. And Bernie is less effective at that. Dude, he's like, you know, he gets sidelined a little too much inside the building. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's see here. Refusing to give up, she became an industrial designer, creative director, small business owner. All right. She then, after 2016, so she got pissed off about Trump and she ran for office. You ready? Right? She never planned to enter the political arena, got fed up after 2016. Through sheer determination, she inspired hundreds of local volunteers to help her swing a Republican-held state Senate seat by 20 points. Okay, now Mallory, though, here is like, she's basically selling herself as I can win the middle voters too, okay? Which is a little dangerous, okay? A right-wing state senator referred to Mallory as a groomer. In a fundraising email, she took the floor of the Senate and now viral speech declared that we will not let hate win. Now, she was definitely a big civil rights person. Mallory was, okay? Now, dude, for all the Bernie people, dude, I have a question for the Bernie people, okay? And so hold on, Bernie people, don't go anywhere. I know you may be mad at me, but don't go anywhere because I got a question for you guys. An important one, all right? Bernie people, I do. Because again, I love Bernie. I am just a realist on how he works with others. So she flipped the control of the Michigan Senate and worked for unions, raising wages, getting rid of a retirement tax, repealing their abortion ban, etc. All right, let's look at her agenda. Okay, and what is her agenda? Her agenda is about the cost of living. She's got immigration. Where is she on healthcare? Healthcare, protect Medicare and Medicaid, create a public option available to any Michigander who wants it. So she's using the public option phrase, which is not Medicare for all, but she is using the public option denominator, which is like keep the healthcare industry, but offer a public option. But again, I want to see a roadmap. Okay, even with the public option, I want to see a roadmap with this shit. Okay, I like the mental health. Obviously, she's doing abortion. Now she's got a track record of codifying the Affordable Care Act at the state level, expanding insurance coverage to include things. So she's got some shit. She leveraged the state budget and eliminated medical debt for 180,000 people. Michigander, yeah. Michigander. That's how I say it. I don't know if it's right. Civil rights. She's like right out there. Number one thing is protecting the LGBTQ people, right? It is, to me, that's really fucking important to me. You know what I'm saying? I think it's really important. She also goes in to talk about voting rights, which is nice. Look at this. Getting rid of partisan gerrymanders. There we go. That's a great thing to have. She talks about that. But she's also done some work expanding LGBTQ protections. I think that's great. All right. You know, but let's see what her endorsements are. Does she have any endorsements? All right. Endorsements. Who does she have? She has a bunch of state senators, right? She doesn't have any big national push. So interesting. All of her endorsements are local. Okay. All of her endorsements are local. So that's interesting, right? That she doesn't have any big national endorsements. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if AOC will endorse somebody here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That will be interesting to see what if AOC weighs in on one of these candidates. Now, let's go look at Haley Stevens, okay? Don't fucking hate me, but we got to look at Haley Stevens. Dude, this woman is, her voice, oh my God, is like, dude, I just can't stand this person, right? Born and raised, her parents had a landscaping business. Her dad was a first grade teacher. She was a chief of staff on Obama's auto rescue. All right. So she was like helping Michigan, like get that money from the federal government, helping save Michigan with Obama. She's going to ride that Obama thing. Yikes. Right? Dude, she flipped a Republican seat. So she's also, I can win the people that are not the far lefties. She's like one of those that's like, I guess, more conservative than Abdul. Ford didn't take money. That's good. That's good. I mean, those guys, they paid it back, right? Those automakers, they paid money back. You know, they definitely like, all right, let's see what she doesn't even have an endorsements, right? That's weird. She has no endorsements. All right. Interesting. That's pretty bizarre, isn't she? Yeah, dude, I don't like her. I mean, I've heard that she is a AIPAC funded, right? Let's look. I don't like how she looks like a Mennonite and talks in that weird accent. Right? I mean, she is. Here's an AIPAC video.
Stevens, proudly representing Michigan's 11th district. And I'm here to wish Israel a very happy Independence Day. As we all know, Israel is a strong ally of the United States of America.
Yikes, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's like.
Do you know the name Jackie?
You know?
Congresswoman Haley Stevens,
Yeah.
proudly representing Michigan's 11th district. And I'm here to wish Israel a very happy Independence Day. As we all know, Israel is a strong ally of the United States of America, a democracy, and a beacon of hope.
Dude, a beacon of hope? Dude, Netanyahu's a fucking war criminal, bro. If she went out there and said, you know, I support Israel as a fucking an ally of the United States, but Benjamin Netanyahu is a fucking war criminal and we need to put him in prison, he needs to be ousted, then I would be like, you know what I'm saying? Then I would be like, all right, you know, like, but that's a little fucking AIPAC fucking video. When was this? Dude, it's got 42 likes, bro. No comments. I think, did they disable comments? I think they disabled comments. Yeah, the comments are disabled. Dude, it has 42 likes. Yikes, bro. Oh, shit. Yeah. Dude, I mean, for me, just like, don't get me wrong. I was in a Jewish fraternity, guys, at UCLA. I have a long-standing connection to the Jewish people. My fraternity brothers, I was one of only 2 guys out of 120 guys that were not Jewish, okay? You know what I'm saying? I have a long-standing tie to the Jewish community. I grew up around those guys in college, right? They were my fucking, like a lot of Jewish guys were my best friends. I was in a Jewish fraternity. I didn't even know Jewish people until I fucking joined Sigma Alpha Mu at UCLA, right? And I was like, holy shit, they were just the guys that I connected with, right? So I've always had a connection to like the Jewish culture and their religion, okay? And I worked with a guy who was Orthodox that wore the prayer gown and brought the plastic fucking silverware and his own food and shit. Richard was so cool. And I used to go and hang out with him and just like ask him all these questions about his Orthodox religion. And he was so cool, man. He was like, I loved him. Now, those people though, and their fucking religious and then the Israeli cultural traditions they have is like very different than fucking like Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Like Benjamin Netanyahu is like, how is that guy winning elections over there? What the fuck is going on in Israel like that guy is winning? Like why is he winning? Right? I mean, that guy's so shady. That guy's so fucking shifty. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he winning, bro? And he's like, you know, why is Donald Trump winning? What the fuck, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, I mean, I guess that's it. Pretending to be a democracy. right? So something's going on there. But dude, it's hard, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like AIPAC, I feel like it's time for them to like not be as involved, okay? You know what I'm saying? It is. It's time. But it's hard though, guys, because I go a step further. For me, it's not just about AIPAC, guys. It's about all of that religion money, okay? Because AIPAC is religion money. It's theocrats from Israel over here, like protecting their shit. And our government is filled with evangelicals that are just as bad as their government and saying, yeah, you can help us get to the rapture, right? And so I want all of these religious fuckers like out of government, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, I have a problem with all of the religion. Like, the American Christians are fucking bad, dude. They are going to get us all killed, bro. They are. Joe, I'm glad you're with me. They are, dude. You know, some of the AIPAC people who aren't Jewish. See, I didn't even realize that like, there's like there's a Christian contingent of AIPAC, isn't there, guys? Isn't there? You know there is, because it feels like the Christians are using Israel to try and bring about the rapture, right? Because that's the whole thing, okay? If you look at the idea, right? The idea of Christianity is that Israel rises up and the whole world attacks her. That's the sign of like the rapture coming. So like the evangelicals want Israel to just fucking like push everybody's buttons, bro. They want that shit. They want the world war. That's supposed to bring Jesus back, dude. Dude, it's fucked up, bro. That shit is fucked up. But yeah, I don't like this woman at all, dude. I don't. I can't get... I mean, look at her, dude. What the fuck is... Dude, dude, I can't deal with it, bro. I just can't fucking deal with it. Holy shit, dude. Dude, she is a bridge troll, dude. Look at that shit. Oh, Lord. What are we doing, boss? Dude. She does have no neck. She's like, I'm not Chinky Uyghur. Dude, fucking A, bro. All right. But yeah, man. Look at Elon Musk. Either Germany votes AFD or it is the end of Germany. Oh my God. Dude, look at that. Elon Musk is now getting involved everywhere. Sorry, world. Yeah, dude, they're trying to destroy Europe because Europe is too atheist, guys. That's what's happening. Literally, I'm telling you right now, guys, I'm going to tell you this flat out. Make no mistake. The evangelical Christians, the Heritage Foundation that is funding Donald Trump, they would rather have Putin take over all of Europe. They would rather have Putin take over all of Europe than allow Europe to be like not a fucking, theocratic fucking hand jive, white supremacist theocratic bullshit. I shit you not, bro. They would much rather Europe, all those resources, be dealing with Vladimir Putin and having that shit just be their own personal fucking storehouse. Like the Heritage Foundation, they hate Europe, guys. They hate it. Europe is like super liberal. Europe is like super fucking, there's a lot of atheists, a lot of like LGBTQ. I mean, it's always been that way, dude. Before Hitler, man, Germany was like the LGBTQ capital of the fucking world, bro. They were like so forward on that shit. And the Heritage Foundation wants Europe gone. They do, man. Yeah, well, dude, Europe is atheist because obviously Christianity sucks, bro. All they do, dude, Christianity sucks. Go to South America. And what did they do, dude? The fucking Catholics rolled into South America and were like, be a Catholic or we will murder you all. That's their whole ethos. I mean, it's fucking Christianity and Catholicism sucks, bro. It's like, do as we do or we will murder you all. It's the worst, right? It's the worst, bro. That shit is terrible, dude. Horrible fucking history, boss. Jesus. Give me a fucking break, dude. All right. Dude, it's true. They hate Europe. Dude, they literally, like, dude, I'm serious. I'm serious, dude. The thing about it is the Heritage Foundation would fucking, they would bury Europe in a second if they could. You know? They would. And I think the other thing about Europe too is they've seen what happens when a nationalist takes over, right? Everybody, they felt the effects. Their whole continent got fucking ravaged because of a nationalist, a scapegoating nationalist. We should have all learned that lesson, dude. Trump should be in a goddamn pine box. You know what I'm saying? AOC endorsed him in 2018. Nice. Okay, now my question for the Bernie guys. If there are Bernie people in the fucking chat still, put a B. Put B's in chat if you're a Bernie person. All right? You know I love Bernie, but I'm also lukewarm on Bernie, but I need to see who my Bernie people are because I got a question for you guys. All right? The Bernie people, I love to see you. All right? I don't want you to think I hate Bernie because I don't, but I am lukewarm, and I've told you why. The demagoguery and the what I perceive as an inability to build a coalition inside the building in order to accomplish his aims, to effectively take on and refute the power structure. But now my question for the Bernie people is this, is Bernie is going to be too old to run for president. What is Bernie going to do? What is Bernie going to do in 2028, guys? Because my fear of Bernie is that Bernie can sink the goddamn Democratic Party. Bernie has enough power to fuel the leftists, to turn them against the Democrats, and to sink the fucking party. So what's he going to do? How is he going to not sink the party? Like, support AOC, but what happens if Gavin Newsom wins the presidency? You know what I mean? Like, what's Bernie going to do? If Gavin Newsom wins the primary, like, what does Bernie do then? Like, what do you think, right? That's what I'm nervous about. Like, what's Bernie going to do with the oligarchy movement? You know? You know what I mean? Like, cause right now, dude, I don't really like anybody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't. I like AOC. No, let me correct that. I love AOC. However, guys, you ready? Let me just tell you. I'm afraid that AOC can't win. I'm afraid that a woman in America can't win unless she's a Republican. Because I'm afraid that the middle white America in crusty small town white middle America will never vote for a fucking woman. And not a woman of any color. That's what I'm afraid of. I am afraid of that. Okay, we've run two now. And I mean, you know, Kamala Harris almost won it, okay? I'm just saying I'm afraid of it. I'm not going to stop saying that. I'm not going to hide my fears. I think it's a realistic fear. Dude, I want a woman president so goddamn bad, but America's continually disappointed me because Americans are misogynist fucking weirdos, right? And I don't understand why, you know? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Bernie always supports the nominee. He supported Biden more so than Hillary. I mean, he did support Hillary, but he did a lot of damage to Hillary, right? He did a lot of framing Hillary as a corporate paid off stooge, right? Which, whether true or not, once Hillary won the nomination, like the Republicans had their attack on her. And then a whole bunch of the Democrats were sort of like, oh, the Republicans aren't completely wrong. And it made it very hard, right? You know, that like when you attack women in a way like that, it sticks to them more. You know what I'm saying? like, unfortunately, again, this is not Bernie's fault, but this is the fault of the patriarchy in America, is when you attack women, if you attack a woman for being unreliable, it's going to stick to her more, right? If you call a guy a liar, nobody's going to give a shit if the guy's a liar. If you call a woman a liar, everyone's like, oh, she's not trustworthy. So attacking the women candidates, everything you attack them with just sticks in a way that it doesn't for the men, you know? And that's really fucking hard. That's like one of the things that, you know, made 2016 so hard is Bernie was attacking Hillary, and some of the shit he was attacking was right on. But then after that primary, Hillary could not escape those attacks, and she was just done for. Maybe if she had campaigned better, she did get a little arrogant. Everybody thought she was going to win. Nobody thought we were dumb enough to vote for Trump. But what did we do, dude? We voted for him twice, bro. Jesus Christ, right? We voted for him twice. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so like, dude, Jon Stewart, I feel like yeah, I don't think he's going to do it though. You know what I mean? I was saying Bernie was part of why she's lost. So Johnny Socket, I'm saying I'm not going to blame Bernie specifically, but I will say that primary was very damaging, right? Because the patriarchal scenario of America made it so Bernie's attacks Hillary couldn't shake them off, for one. And two, there were some very fervent people in Bernie's coalition that were like, fuck everything since Bernie didn't get it, that were filled with vitriol and wanted to sort of burn things down, which wasn't Bernie's fault. But it was like, that's the demagoguery part that I didn't like. But the real thing was what Trump's campaign did, okay? Because if you look at Bernie, okay, you ready? Bernie's from Vermont. So Bernie is a liberal, like civil rights defender his whole life, right? But he's also from the small town Vermont, lily white sort of part of the country. And for whatever reason, Bernie's populism speaks to white rural people. White rural people, like, they hear Bernie and they feel safe and secure. He's got a real fucking knack for that. Okay, Bernie does. Now, the problem was when Bernie didn't win and Hillary won and Hillary couldn't shake the Bernie attacks, what Donald Trump did is he recognized his campaign, saw how Bernie's campaign spoke to the middle Americans, and then Trump started making videos and talking about Bernie's points and kind of riding Bernie's wave. Bernie provided a roadmap for how Trump could appeal to the Midwest because he was just so good at it. And so Trump rode his wave. And in fact, in August of 2016, I was frantically sending emails to Hillary's campaign saying Donald Trump is running Bernie Sanders' campaign against you, and he's going to win if you don't fucking thwart this. Like, please hire me. I'm a video maker. Like, bring me in. Let me make some videos for me. And they kept ignoring me. But I saw it in August. I was like, oh, fuck. Dude, Trump is starting to run Bernie's campaign. He did it in the Midwest. He basically he sort of went away from the law and order a little bit and went to that economic populism of, like, you know, Hillary's the corporate bought by Wall Street, and I'm the guy who's like independent. I'm an outsider. I'm like Bernie Sanders. He didn't use Bernie Sanders' name, but he fucking adopted that role, dude, even though he was nothing like it. And it worked. It fucking worked, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it fucking worked. But it's, you know, it's not like, see, my thing is this, like, Johnny Socket, I'm going to tell you, if I had been Bernie, okay, if I had been Bernie, here's what I would have done, Johnny Socket. Okay, you ready for this? If I had been Bernie, I think I would have recognized the minute I lost the fucking black vote in the South. Okay. The minute I realized I can't win the South, I can't really win this election. If I had been Bernie, I would have immediately suspended my campaign and gone to Hillary's people and said, look, let me align my grassroots movement with you. Let me be your vice president. I'm going to drop out. We're going to get you into the White House. I want to be your VP. And we're going to bring an unbeatable coalition that will knock out Republicans for the next 20 fucking years. That's what I would have done if I had been Bernie. I would have been dropped out real quick and would have coalesced with Hillary when I saw that the South wasn't going to pull for Bernie. Because you can't win the Democratic nomination without winning the South. That's just the fact of the matter. And I didn't see that from Bernie. I thought he stayed in too long, and he, by then they hated him so much that he couldn't even be like, you know what I mean? By then, like some of his people hated the Democratic Party so much that like he couldn't even bring his own voters around. Like not all of his voters even came around. There was a lot of resentment there, you know, and yeah, he was convinced he could go all the way. But like once I saw him lose in the South, I was like, dude, he's not going to get this. Like he needs to fucking make nice here. Right. And he didn't, you know what I mean? He fucking didn't, you know, but that's me. Right. And maybe it would have been like, maybe that wouldn't have been a good thing. You know, maybe we need to go through Donald Trump and maybe we'll be better off going through this nastiness. Maybe we'll get further left, right? But that was my personal take, okay, is I saw early on, oh, he can't win this. And then he kept going because he was like, he had a grassroots movement. But it's hard, like he should have formed. And that's, though, what I'm talking about like, recognizing when you need to coalesce and add your movement to other people and when you need to not, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because what sort of happened, and this is not Bernie's fault, but if you look at the Democratic, like if you look at the Democratic Party's low rate, their low approval rate right now, guys, okay, it started with Bernie, and it's not Bernie's fault, but what happened with Bernie was Bernie ran on the kind of like Obama thing of like, I'm an outsider, but he didn't have the juice to win it like Obama did. And so he then divided the coalition a little bit, and there were a lot of people with hurt feelings. Okay, Bernie didn't intend it, but it ended up like Hillary's camp had hurt feelings and Bernie's camp had hurt feelings, and Democrats and leftists and center Dems were fighting each other. And then we were all mad that it led to Trump and everybody was pointing fingers. And then there were accusations of the Democrats, like the superdelegates were a big problem and the Democrats cheated and Bernie really won, and all this suspicion that then became the root of Trump, like lying about the election. And so all of that started when we fractured ourselves in 2016, and we're still trying to fucking fix that shit. And now Gaza's made it even worse. But like, so maybe we have to go through this, and maybe it'll lead to some unity down the road. But a lot of that, like when Obama ran, the Dems were like, Obama's the outsider, but we were united behind him. And then we got split. Okay. And kind of, if you look at the power structure, Hillary was next in line, man. Okay. Of the Obama coalition, like Hillary was next in line. And then Bernie came and was like, fuck that. Fuck her. We're going to build a revolution. And he did, but it was like an almost revolution that didn't quite take, because the black people in the South, the older black voters, were like, man, we're not straying from the Democratic Party that passed the Civil Rights Act. Okay, the older black voters are like party line. They are like JFK, Civil Rights Act, fucking Dem Party, and fucking very suspicious outside of that. And so, you know what I'm saying? And again, though, I'm not blaming Bernie. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just telling you, if I had been Bernie, I think I would have recognized after I lost the South realistically where I was at. And I would have recognized that Hillary was next in line. and I would have coalesced with her and maybe been the guy after that, used that election as a bridge. Okay, I've got this movement, but it's not quite going to win. So I'm going to bridge. I'm going to unite with this party. I'm going to let Hillary take her shot, and then I'm going to come in after, and we're going to build a dynasty of like 20 years of progressive fucking shit. And because the thing about this, guys, is whether you like it or not, there is a hierarchy that exists. You may not like 𝗙sze𝗶𝗹𝗪, but that guy's next in line for power. And the thing about that is like, yeah, the thing about that is like you, if you're, you know, you can depose the king if you have the goods to depose him, you know what I'm saying? And again, though, it was unfortunate because unfortunately, guys, in the patriarchy, if you attack a woman for 6 months, right, she's not going to be able to overcome it. Okay, when you attack a woman in America, right, if you attack a woman candidate, like if a woman runs for president, we need to just all get behind her and not shred her in the primary. Right? If there's a woman candidate, all the other candidates need to sort of drop out and get behind that woman, because if you attack the woman, she's not going to be able to wriggle free because of the fucking patriarchal bullshit, dude. It sucks. I mean, and maybe that'll change down the road, you know? And, but yeah, I don't know, dude. I feel like the animosity we have is still, I don't think we've gotten over 2016 and Bernie's loss. And the fucking Dems protecting their shit. Because obviously the thing about this is the Dems did everything they could to rat fuck Bernie. Okay, they did. I will absolutely admit that. But guys, I agree with that. Okay, like the Democratic Party, like Bernie didn't join. He only put the D next to them to use their infrastructure to try and get in the White House. He was trying a hostile takeover of the party. If I was in the Democratic Party, I would have rat fucked his ass too. Because I would have been, you're not coming in here and taking all my infrastructure just because you're hot in this moment. You can coalesce with us and we can do this together or we're going to fucking bury you. Because and the Republicans should have done that with Trump, but they didn't. But Trump is what happens when you let a renegade come in and take over your shit. You get a demagogue that then forces everybody in line. And so I just think like you gotta fucking, I don't believe in hostile takeovers. I don't think that they fucking work well. I've never seen a hostile takeover that didn't lead to some type of corruption or abuse. Okay? You know what I'm saying? It's like hostile takeovers don't really work, guys. And I mean, I love Bernie, but like I'm looking at 2028. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm looking at 2028, right? Democrats are dead without Bernie. Fucking him, fuck the party. Well, yeah, but if Bernie doesn't align with them, then Bernie's saying fuck the party. He's okay with Trump. It's not very punk of me. It is punk of me, boss. I don't have to live up to your fucking interpretation of punk, bro. I'm not a 20-year-old kid. You can't just because I'm smart enough to know how to work political systems in my life, in the jobs I work, or how to maneuver up the ladder in hierarchies, you can say, oh, I'm not punk, but the most punk thing is achieving your aims, okay? It's not very punk to fucking get boxed outside. You know what I'm saying? I think the most punk thing is winning, right? Especially when people think you can't. To me, that's the most punk thing, right? Right? It's not about ooh, I'm going to force everybody to do what I tell them to do. That ain't punk, right? Punk is getting your hands on the levers of power and fucking winning that shit, But again, I got my eyes on Bernie in 2028, right? You're saying I'm not punk at all? Dude, I'm incredibly punk, Johnny. I'm more punk than you will ever be, boss. I am a DIY guy who has DIY'd in the film industry, in the fucking music industry. I booked my own tours. I've toured the country, released independent records, been my own record label, owned my own recording studio, got famous as a video gamer, and now I'm doing a political channel, and I did it all without fucking corporate help or without getting signed by a record label. I am punk and you are not. Okay? You're just being a fucking crybaby. So, dude, fuck off. You got nothing on me just because I don't fucking support Bernie taking over the Democrats. Dude, if Bernie had the enough to take it over, I would have supported him. Okay? But Bernie didn't have it. Okay? Obviously, he didn't have it. He thought he did, but he didn't. And that's the thing. You don't shoot for the king and miss, right? You don't fucking do that shit unless you can. But he can sink them, you know? Dude, I don't think Bernie should. I think Bernie should be allowed. I wanted him. See, I'll tell you this, guys. You ready? I wanted Bernie, after he lost in 2016, to join the DNC and become a leader in the DNC. Okay? He could have, too. After 2016, he could have won a leadership position in the DNC. Right? 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 All right, dude, I'm just fucking talking smack to Johnny. I don't fucking care, right? But dude, I think Bernie should have joined the DNC. He should have joined the party and gotten a leadership position in the DNC, okay? That would have been the move, all right? If he really wanted to fucking take over the party, that would have been the move, okay? But he didn't fucking make that move, guys. You know what I'm saying? All right, Johnny, dude, I don't care, boss. You're good. Opposite of your message, you said I wasn't punk. Dude, let's go. Right? Dude, you said, all right, here, we're going to go back to your message just so you can show you, okay? You can say that, right? You said, that's not very punk of you. And then you said being anti-hostile takeover isn't punk. Okay? That's what you said. So you're saying I'm not punk because I don't want a hostile takeover. Right? Right? Dude, hostile takeovers they're not the answer, boss. Right? You think Trump hostile takeover of the government, you think it's going to be good? It's not going to be good, guys. Hostile takeovers aren't good because when you do hostile takeovers, you have a bunch of people that are unhappy, right? You know what I'm saying? You have a bunch of people that are unhappy and you can't have a coalition when a bunch of people hate each other, okay? And what's more, when somebody has enough power to execute a hostile takeover, they have power issues after that because they have too much power, okay? And it's unchecked, okay? If you're able to by the very nature, it happens in business too. When people have enough of a thing to do a hostile takeover, they then have unchecked power. And that's where corruption comes in, and that's where shit starts going off the rails. It's the same shit that Trump did with the Republicans. But dude, I get heated though, because a lot of people are like, oh, you're not punk. But dude, I am punk. I'm a DIY guy, okay? And I hold true to my beliefs, and I'm not going to be molded by the crowd, right? The Bernie people are not going to convince me to have different feelings about Bernie, right? And the fucking, the whatever, the pro-Netanyahu people aren't going to convince me to have different feelings about Netanyahu. And the MAGA aren't going to convince me to have different feelings about Trump. But I do believe, like the punk I grew up in, guys, the punk I grew up in was not about hostile takeovers. It was about like putting people together. We brought everybody together. We had the goths and the gender nonconforming. And like, I wasn't even a punker. I was like an indie rocker who was into Seattle music and shit and like Jane's Addiction. But I was able to meld with the punkers because the punkers were everybody, but they were like grassroots. Right? They did it themselves. They did it word of mouth. They built it together and they formed coalitions. And sometimes you form coalitions with people you didn't like, okay? Because you were like, the goal was getting it, right? Like in the punk role, right? In the punk world, right? Or the punk world I was in, it wasn't so much of like, we have to be outsiders. It was like, no, we're going to get ours. Okay. It was about getting ours. You know what I'm saying? And it was about standing up for people's fucking civil rights. At first and foremost, it was like freedoms and rights, and not like arguing about money and fucking arguing about right. And that's the thing that really bothers me about all of this is I'm tired of people talking about economics. I am, because guys, I hate to break it to you, economics is bullshit, okay? Because economics is race. Economics is gender. Economics is sexual orientation. Economics is class, period, okay? That it is all civil rights, okay? There is no economics. If you focus on economics without focusing on the civil rights, then only the white people benefit from that economic shit, okay? You cannot separate it, okay? It is race, it is gender, it is fucking sexual identity, and it is class, all right? And you cannot separate it, man. And that pisses me off because I feel like the civil rights thing needs to be the foundation. And everything else is built on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Dude, it's okay, Johnny. I know I probably told you to fuck off too, but dude, that happens. Like heated discussions happen, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I get a lot of people though, a lot of leftists attack me about like not being punk because they think that being punk means I'm supposed to destroy shit. But like, dude, the real punkers didn't destroy shit, man. There were a group of anarchist punkers that were resentful and that were like, had low self-esteem, that used punk rock as a destruction. But you look at like the Sex Pistols, who kind of had that image. That was a boy band. They were made up by a goddamn fucking, by a manager, and Johnny fucking Rotten of that band is a fucking Republican because they're bullshit. Okay, that wasn't real punk. Real punk was building. It wasn't about destroying. It was about building. And if you build it outside the norm, you build it, but you build a power that can't be denied. It was not about destruction, man. And that's the thing people miss. The real punks had a network, man. When I toured in 2003, punk had evolved to emo, okay? Punk had evolved to emo, but it was like a network. And dude, I didn't have to be a screamo band. I would play with screamo bands, but I was a one-man indie rock band with a laptop playing these heartfelt songs. But I was like in the network of people that were doing it, that were making that shit happen. And so you were helping other people that were doing it. And we weren't fighting about money, and we weren't fighting about power, and you know what I'm saying? It's like the doers were building with other doers. And that shit is what we fucking need, man. We need more of that instead of more Columbia graduates to fucking be arguing theoretically while we're tearing each other apart, or having a bunch of rich kids like arguing about like how we're not socialist enough. You know what I'm saying? Or having a bunch of people like mad at the centrists because they have too much power. Like, we should use the centrist power and like fucking coalition with them. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I just don't know how to bring it about though, because I am kind of aggressive and in your face. And so I don't even know that I'm good at that. Right? I may be causing more damage, dude. I don't know, you know, but like, I think we got to stop destroying. Okay. You know what I mean? I really do. And don't get me wrong though, because I don't love the Democratic Party. I mean, that Haley Stevens woman is fucking problematic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we saw her, the AIPAC funded Haley Stevens. She's probably got full support of the mainstream Democrats. And I'm like, fuck, bro. I see her and I think maybe we do need to blow up the goddamn party, right? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, maybe a couple years from now, I am going to fucking put a bomb in the apparatus and blow it to shit. I don't know. But I do know that Republicans are the enemy and not the fucking, you know what I'm saying? What I said was pretty gnarly. About what? What'd I say? That was gnarly, little furrow. Dude, what? I don't know what I said. That was gnarly. I'm sure there was some shit that was gnarly. Dude, KD, let's go, baby. We love you, boss. Appreciate you. But everything was gnarly? Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. I know I'm on a fucking rant and shit. But I want to, right? I want us to fucking find a way to work together, you know? You know what I'm saying? And I want us to find a way to work together, right? And I fucking don't know how, you know, I mean, what I want, here's what I want. And I don't know if I'll ever get this, guys, but what I want is I want a bunch of working class people that don't have AIPAC money, like 𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗏, right? Running for Congress, even if they lose. I would love to see working class, regular Americans use social media to flood the zone, use social media and go door to door and flood the zone so there's 50 people running for a House seat. And everyone's like, why are these 50 people doing it? And they're all using social media. You know why? Because even if all 50 of them lose, they're changing the conversation. There's more people than just the AIPAC and one other voice. There's like 100 regular people talking, and there's so many voices that somebody's going to break through. Okay, so I'd like to see us flood the zone of working class people running at every level. State level, state reps, state senate, school boards, county commissioners, running for the House, running for Senate, no money, just using TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and whatever, right? Flood the fucking zone of working people believing we can win. And 1,000 of us run and 20 get in, okay? And then we have working people in Congress. And then you have to pass legislation that bans stock trading. So the wealthy kids don't want to go to Congress anymore because they can't build up a $20 million stock portfolio. Make Congress a job that wealthy people don't want, okay? That would be a start, right? That's kind of what I want to see. I want to see the people stop complaining about the corporate representatives and we actually do that punk thing of DIY, building our thing and all running together on this crazy anti-establishment thing, even if we lose. Because the funny thing about the punks is the punk and the emo shit is like nobody in that scene worried about winning. It was about fucking doing it with the scene. It wasn't about getting the record label and getting the deal and doing that shit. You know what I mean? It was just being a part of the scene and fucking having the scene, right? We should make our scene running for office, you know, and fucking evolving the conversation. I'd like to see that. And I don't know if I have to like start that down the road and go out there and be a loudmouth fucking online creator, you know, to fucking do it. I don't know. Maybe I have to start that. I'm trying to inspire it. But when I try to inspire people like, are you running? And I'm like, well, no, I'm not running, but I'm building something to try and inspire us all to run. You know what I'm saying? Which you need that too. Like you need to have a fucking, right? You know, and like if I give this up and stop inspiring people and just run, will that do it? Maybe it won't, you know, but like most people have really big political opinions, but they're afraid or they feel like they can't win. So they don't want to fucking become a part of that, you know? And like we need more young people running, but most young people don't want to be in government. And I can't say I blame them. Because, like, you know, it's shitty and nasty, and you have to make a lot of compromises. You got to shuck and jive, and you got to make deals, and you got to fucking, you know, you can't have perfect integrity, guys. You can't. I know people, leftists, think you can, but, man, you can't. You have to, like, for every advancement, you're betraying somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's true. There is a truth, especially in the Democratic Party where there's a wide coalition. For every person you help, somebody else is getting betrayed. And that's a cold, hard reality of politics for everyone. And in the Democrats, it's really hard because our party is so diverse that for everybody you represent, you're betraying somebody else, right? It's fucking the nature of the beast, right? And I don't know how to do that effectively, So, and a lot of politics is just, can you convince people to trust you? But that doesn't even mean you're trustworthy. It's not like the most trustworthy guy wins. It's like the guy or girl who wins or somebody who convinces the people that they're the most trustworthy, even if they're total fucking degenerates, Yeah, no, ranked choice would be great, but I don't know if you're ever going to get it. We have it here in Portland. Dude, ranked choice. What's great about ranked choice is it allows you to eliminate people, which is good, Can compromise and have integrity through transparency of your goals. Yeah, but it's hard though because the thing about this, guys, that what's hard about transparency, and you'll notice this, okay? So and think about this in the context of your friends, okay? So like, for example, if I have a friend group of like 5 people, right? It's easy for me to be transparent because it's just me and my 4 friends. And we all know each other. We're all comfortable with each other. Everything can be transparent because the information travels real quick, right? When I was in the fraternity and I lived in a room full of, a house that had 100 guys in it, it was real hard to be transparent because now not everybody in that house likes me. Some people, if I'm transparent with them, are going to use that shit against me. So I can't really be transparent with everybody. So now I have a bunch of little groups of 5, and I am transparent at different levels with each of those 5. And all those different groups are part of integrating me in the power structure of the whole. And so that's what happens when you get into government, is you have 535 people in Congress, and they are all competing. States are competing for their own shit. That's the real problem with our government, guys, is the states. Okay, you have 535 people in Congress, but the Michigan people are fighting for Michigan. And in the Congress people are fighting for their own fucking district. So there's a lot of competing interests, and nobody's being transparent because everybody's shucking and jiving and forming miniature coalitions to get their own little piece of the pie. So it's a real hard... It's like you go in there and it's a battlefield, man. Nobody's there fighting for the American people as a whole. They're not, because they don't get elected by the American people. Only the president does, right? The state, the senators get elected by the state. The Congress people get elected by 700,000 people in their district. Dude, let's go. Dude, let's go. Peaceful, we appreciate you. So, right? So it's kind of like... It's convoluted, guys. Our government is convoluted. It is. It is like a bunch of competing interests, And so I don't know, man. I don't know how we fix that, man. Why don't YouTubers build a coalition? Would be nice. But it's hard though, Rebecca, because so YouTube is interesting because you do sort of have a coalition, right? You'll notice that good YouTubers will sort of follow each other, right? They don't do it purposefully, but they'll see what other creators are hitting with, and then they'll make their version of that content, or they'll use some of the same buzzwords, right? And so there's coalitions that happen that are unspoken by watching each other, but there's a lot of competition because you're fighting for a piece of the algorithm, right? And that's that though, guys, is just capitalism. Right? Capitalism makes you, there's only so much room up there. And so everybody is fighting for a little fucking piece of that shit. You know what I mean? Dude, let's go. Dude, a petition in Michigan. Can I sign that petition though? I don't live in Michigan. But yeah, Bradshaw's right there. Dude, put it in Discord. All right? Yeah, dude, capitalism is really... Dude, we're dying from capitalism. All right, but now I got to go make videos. I don't even know what I'm making them about, but, we'll figure it out. But I got to go make some videos, guys. All right? Dude, we didn't get any good Epstein shit. GG's. Dude, that was a long one. I feel like tonight was just a long rant. It was like a 3-hour rant. And then me yelling at Bernie's stands. Right? It was a 3-hour rant with me making every Bernie lover hate me. Dude, I love Bernie, though. Don't get me wrong. I love Bernie, but I don't want to fucking divide the party anymore because of Bernie. I want to get over that shit. Dude, you know what I mean? Like, we need to move beyond, like, the Bernie resentment and fucking, you know, we need to fucking come together, guys. We need to come together. We need to, like, you know, and that's the thing. Like, even with this Taylor Lorenz, David Pakman, Brian Tyler Cohen, and, like, you know, Ken Klippenstein and Taylor Lorenz, and now, like, all the far lefties. Like, I saw Kate Willett, who called me. Like, Kate Willett told me I'm worse than MAGA, right? Kate Willett did, because I'm not leftist enough for her. And I made a video about her, right? But she's now, like, in the Taylor Lorenz, Ken Klippenstein, like, fuck Brian Tyler Cohen and the people in the middle. But, like, dude, we need each other. Taylor Lorenz and Brian Tyler Cohen and 1630 and Pierre Omidyar and fucking Kate Willett and me, and we're all on the same goddamn side. You know what I mean? Happy birthday, Stephanie. Who's Stephanie? Let's go. Dude, yesterday was your birthday? All right, and you're at the casino. Let's go, dude. Stephanie's fucking, dude, put a couple dollars on 22 on the roulette table for me. But you know what I mean? But you see, Barry, though, I agree with you. Stop the bribes, get money out of politics, but we can't do that without winning all houses of the House. We have to win the House, the Senate, the presidency, and then change the Supreme Court. And until then, we ain't getting money out of politics. So we got to use the money in politics to fucking try to do that shit. You know? You know what I mean? That's the problem. Dude, maybe, hey, Molly, maybe I'm going to do that. I'll make that video about punk, about me yelling about fucking Bernie Sanders and shit and leading into that whole punk thing. I'll do it. Fuck it. I'll make that video, bro. We'll do it, dude. We got to do this, though. We got to fucking do this. We got to find a way to come together. But that, though, is the primary distinction, guys, because the thing about this that drives me crazy is a lot of people look at rebellions like punk rock and shit like that, and they think about it as like destroying shit. But I really encourage you to start thinking of rebellion as building shit. Okay? Think about the rebellion as building shit. Think about the rebellion as manipulating the structure that exists, right? Instead of like destroying. Some shit does need to get destroyed. But even if you look at the history of America when they rebelled against England, it was 13 colonies that united to fucking take on that shit and like build something. You know, now they did it horribly with slaves and all this other crazy shit. They were terrible and they fucking genocided the natives. They were horrible. But the idea is to build and not just destroy. Okay? That's the idea. We gotta become builders. Like, you know, I told you I was in the fraternity, and there was a thing in the fraternity. There was this thing we had to memorize all this shit. But one of the things that was part of Sigma Alpha Mu, the fraternity I was in, was this huge poem called The Bridge Builder. And it was a really important poem because the important thing was like, you can't get over the chasm if you're not willing to build a bridge, man. You end up in the fucking chasm, right? You gotta build a bridge. You know what I'm saying? You gotta build a bridge. And I mean, and that's not necessarily like, oh, I need to go make friends with MAGA. No, it's about building a bridge versus just being destructive. It's about like, you know, building a bridge so everybody can get into a good university, right? The chasm between people and education, build a bridge over it. You know what I'm saying? The chasm between us and clean energy, build a bridge, right? And maybe we don't need to destroy everything oil, but we do have to build a bridge right? And you're right. Religion fucks shit up, man. Religion fucks shit up. It does, dude. Religion is not about building bridges. Religion is about authoritarianism. Okay, that's the real problem with all religions. I don't care if you're Muslim or Jewish or Christian, right? All of the Abrahamic religions are fucking authoritarianism, guys. And they are going to lead us nowhere good. All three of the Abrahamics, all of the Abrahamic religions. Like, I think the only religious philosophy worth anything is Buddhism, because it is like a simple moral code. There's no deity, and it's all about harmony and making peace with the earth and everybody, living in harmony and being aware in the moment. And it's not a deity. It's not a religion. It's a philosophy of self-awareness and harmony. Okay, so Buddhism rocks, but people don't like it because it's not power taking. But all of the fucking Abrahamic religions are authoritarian. Okay, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Jewish, they are authoritarian. And if you fucking imbue those religions into your government, you will end up at authoritarianism eventually. That's it. There's no escaping it. Okay? If Christianity or Islam or Judaism fuses with government in any way, you will fucking end up authoritarian, period. There's no way to not, because those Abrahamic religions are authoritarian. Yes, and they are also patriarchal, and they're also fucking, misogynist, and you know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of shit. But anyway, dude, yeah, Buddha wasn't a god. He wasn't even divine. He was just a meditator, right? He was just super wise, okay? All right, now I gotta go. I gotta make videos. It's time for some fucking edit mode. Can I just say something too? I'd like to end here. What's crazy about this is my son and his girlfriend. I don't know if they're home now, but they're here. Usually they're like right above me. They're the room. They have this big room with skylights in the front of the house upstairs. But they sit here and hear me talk about this shit all night long. And they're like young and super leftist and like further left than me, and like, I don't know, man. They're like, I got a lot of hope for the future because of them. But I think it's got to be interesting for them to just sit and listen to me all night long and not fucking, like, I don't know how I would do that. I think I got to be really hard to live with, guys. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, bro. Oh, shit. Dude, I'm surprised they don't come in here in chat and be like, shut the fuck up, bro. You know? Who's the most forthright person ever? Who is Jen talking about? Jen said somebody's the most forthright person ever. Who is that? Soundproof my room? Dude, no, you can't, like, soundproofing a fucking room. My room's in the center of the house and it's got an opening. Dude, soundproofing this room would be unfeasible. You have to build like a room within a room. I'd be better off buying a different house than soundproofing this room, right? But I'm curious who the most forthright person ever that Joe Woodworth said. Who were we talking about? I missed that. I'm still waiting on the answer there. Yeah, no, I mean, I used to soundproof shit in when I had a recording studio. I soundproofed a basement. It was a little easier there, though, because the whole thing was underground, so you had the earth. But I didn't soundproof it from the rest of the house, right? The people, if there had been people upstairs, they would have been destroyed by the sound. So that's why I ended up living alone in a 3-bedroom house, right? But all right, I'm gonna go make some fucking I'm gonna go make some noise in the video realm. All right. Let's see what we got here. Dude, I think we're gonna end with a little Radiant. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go, baby. Don't give up hope. We're gonna get this, baby. We're gonna get this. See you tomorrow.
Hey, I just wanna change the world. I just want the perfect girl. I don't wanna hang around, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. Change the world, but I'm not gonna wait my turn. I don't ever want to come down, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. It's about you. I would never be